see, it's not just me.
Jeff, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see, it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless smile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense. But it makes
yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, you would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
Yes! I look and see, it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see, it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless smile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless smile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. Get wild! Yeah!
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah!
Yeah!
So, hairline. I have Paul London imitating Aubrey Edwards. You want to watch that video? You want to watch that? It sounds funny. Like, I don't know. Those words strung together sound hilarious to me. So, let's get into this and see if it'll pop us or something.
I popped us already. We're already popped.
Okay, so here on X, formerly known as Twitter, still known as Twitter to many, we have Paul London imitating Aubrey Edwards. And he's here with James here. I don't know who that is. Rene Dupree, shout him out. And Ace Darling. That's a fucking throwback. Ace Darling. I think he did dark matches for like ECW and WWF back in the day, but never really made it. But shout out all you guys. Shout out Paul London. Here is Paul London imitating Aubrey Edwards. Shout out Cafe du Rene Dupree.
Yeah, she was like, "You don't recognize me, do you?"
Right.
Or something like that. She's like, "I'm only one of the most famous referees in professional wrestling." And he was like, "Oh, I don't really watch WWF anymore. Like, I haven't watched it all." It's like, WWE? Please. I wrestle for I'm a referee for AEW. It's the newest shit. If you don't know it, then you need to go check it out.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
And
oh no!
And then he was just like, yeah. She was like.
Ooh, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another eclectic edition of PWT Live Show. Yeah, where's my sound? Yeah. How y'all doing tonight? I am your host, the infallible Phil Marks, running a little behind here, but that's how it goes. We're doing a triple header. As everyone files in, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. We have PCO, Pierre Carhoulet, making his entrance. And yeah, I'm excited for this. Steph DeLander, who I absolutely adore, is making her way, his bride is making her way to the ring as well. Guys, youtube.com/@prowrestletimes, youtube.com/@prowrestleclips. I'm going to shout out all the members and acknowledge you all on another show because I haven't made a new list since I've been out of the hospital.
Acknowledge me.
And I'm happy you guys tuned in on a Friday night to be here with me. I'm sure a bunch of people are like, what? You're live on Friday? But yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend. And joining me, folks, in the wings. I don't want to keep them waiting. Joining me tonight is, of course, none other than Evil Dose. Round of applause for the evil one. And also joining me this evening, Chris Connor from Last Call Podcast with Chris Connor. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing tonight?
Yep, doing all right. You know, I never miss a TNA PLE or pay-per-view or whatever they're called.
What about you, Chris?
I'm doing well. We already have some changes. We have a tag team title. I know you're a tag team guy here, so they're going to be defended tonight. The tag team title is announced. It's going to be ABC versus AJ Francis and the replacement Casey Navarro.
Ooh, wow. That's all right. And shout out Rich Homie Swan. Hopefully he gets better. You know, he's dealing with whatever. And guys, I actually have SmackDown on one screen and I have got TNA Emergence on another screen. So I'm going to share this. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find Chris Connor over. He's the host of the Last Call podcast. I'm over there doing that show all the time. And of course, Evil Dose. You can find him doing, well, what do you got going on right now? I know you're all like, I'm retired from doing shows.
I'm retired from doing wrestling shows.
There you go.
Under my own banner. So Hammerlock Hangover was on for about 3.5 years, and we just couldn't get it together enough to do it consistently. So we decided there's enough wrestling podcasts in the world. So I'm happy enough to guest on yours and other people's, and I do you know, occasionally I do things for Wrestling Soup and Drew Yari's show. I'll be on his NXT review show. My show, I have Garden of Doom. I have 3 titles under Garden of Doom, Garden Views, and GOD presents the Book of Black, which I co-host with PJ Black, the wrestlers. Some of you may know him as Justin Gabriel when he was in WWE. Yes. And we talk to people in and around wrestling about Garden of Doom topics. So we've talked to Aaron Idle, Damian Sandow, the same person. Yeah. Jimmy Jacobs, that show will drop on Monday.
That's amazing.
Tyrus, Super Panda, a wrestler that we only identified as Raider. That's not even his real wrestling name because he was talking at a school. And George Iceman from TNA, Ash by Elegance, his personal concierge. So those are the shows recorded, and we've got plenty of other guests coming up. But what's Garden of Doom? Occult, esoteric, arcane, comparative mythology, cryptids, UFOs, history, alternate histories, things that go bump in the night. Anything that makes me curious. Garden Views is the same thing, but it's more legal, science, business, tech, and real politics. So I think I took up enough time there. But folks, if you subscribe to Garden of Doom, you get all 3 of the shows. They're free. There's no Patreon. There's no super chats. There's no donation option. It's just my love to you.
So yeah, for fucking people with low IQs like me, if you guys like WWE and TNA wrestlers from all over the place talking about shit not wrestling, go and check out Dose. And it's awesome, right? For the most part, right?
We're starting a cult with Tyrus, the cult of the great cosmic megalodon.
That's awesome.
So if you need religion, we got you.
Speaking of super chats, though, I have one. Plenty in pixel art for $10. Says, start with a downer. Rest in peace, Johnny Gaudreau. Hockey fan salute. Yeah, I'm a big hockey fan.
Acknowledge me.
The Gaudreau family, who, I'm not even 100% sure what happened. I didn't even really read into it. I just saw like the headline. So if chat wants to let me know, or if anybody here, Chris Connor, if you know, or Dose.
So yeah,
what happened?
It's heartbreaking. So Johnny Gaudreau and his brother were basically biking the day before their sister's wedding.
Right,
And
in
it's
New
and
Jersey or something like
in
that,
New
right?
Jersey. So I mean, they're literally it's their home. They're not doing anything wrong. They're biking on the bike path side of a road, and this guy who's been arrested now for under the influence. He's pissed about I have to wait in traffic. So he basically drives right into the breakdown lane and runs them over. And now he's upset that he has to be in jail for the entire week. Almost like it's so heartbreaking and just upsetting. But here's this idiot who, if you're drunk, there's no more excuses anymore. Well, I need to drive, I need to do this. Call an Uber,
That
call a
stresses me out,
taxi.
dude. Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking because you see the pictures, his sister's getting married, Johnny Gaudreau has 2 kids, Matt has kids. Because of some drunken asshole, a family lost basically 2 guys who meant the world to them. So forget about the hockey, thing alone. And look, I've been a Johnny Gaudreau fan ever since he went to Boston College, followed him from Calgary to Columbus.
Yeah.
It's a heartbreaking. You hate this because of some guy who couldn't handle his liquor and decided, I want to get my car and drive, and I'm upset because I want to wait in traffic. 2 men lost their lives.
Just horrible. Just I don't know. Best wishes, prayers, best thoughts for the whole family, and terrible, 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 man. And that's devastating. And I'm a big hockey fan, and so like him and his brother both passed away.
Yes, they both passed away, unfortunately.
That's so bad, dude. Thank you, Plinian, for the super chat, but more importantly, just chat. Best wishes and keep their thoughts, their family in your thoughts, I guess. I don't know. I don't do weird. I get awkward. I don't do death good. Sorry, I get weirder with death stuff if you guys can't tell. PCO just won. Not to laugh. I'm sorry, I get weird about it. PCO just won. Okay, so he just hit a moonsault, almost landed on his head. And it was a decent match from what I saw. And there's going to be an Ultimate X tonight. So we have the card pulled up here. Wasn't
a surprise opponent for PCO tonight?
Mahabali Shera.
Yeah, I know. I was like, dude, it would be crazy if it was Cruel and they just went full on death match mode. Like I thought
it was going to be Dijak. I thought that seemed like a Dijak moment.
No,
he's in MLW now. He's signed a short-term deal with them. So take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, it's probably worth $17 an hour.
So you said that there was a tag match added to this card, ABC
versus AJ Francis versus Casey Navarro.
Okay, so I wasn't able to give my prediction, but I was gonna obviously pick PCO. No, in hindsight, it doesn't count, but I still give my prediction PCO. That's what it would have been. You guys know I love PCO.
We know that you are a person of impeccable integrity, so
yes. But that one we won't count. Kushida versus Kazarian. I'm gonna go with Kazarian.
Well, that match already happened also. So yes.
Oh, did it? Okay. So what happened in it? What happened?
Basically, it was a fun little match for what it was. Kushida had him in an armbar outside the ring, rolls him back in. Kazarian used the rope the ring, signs to pull it up. Referee gets distracted, low blow, and then fade to black. So it's look, it keeps Kazarian hot. Kushida's already over, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with Kazarian going forward. Does he get a feud with Steve MacLeod? Do they end up keeping him with Joe Hendry just until they decide, all right, do we want to have Joe Hendry at Final Resolution, Bound for Glory? I mean, Kazarian's a good, solid wrestler, and hey, he knows how to work the crowd, and he knows how to be a good bad guy.
And there's a few guys here doing double duty, like working NXT No Mercy Sunday, as well as working this TNA card as well. So we have Steve Macklin and Eric Young. So I guess I'm 2-0 if you guys want to know. Those two don't count. So Steve Macklin, Eric Young. I'm going to pick Macklin's going to win this one. What say you, Chris?
Macklin.
Okay. Are you indifferent or what, Dose? I know you haven't been watching TNA too much, no?
I haven't watched TNA I saw one card when Kenny Omega had like that match with Sami Callihan, which people thought was great. I thought it was terrible. The last time I saw TNA was actually Lashley's goodbye match or EC3's goodbye, whichever one of them came later. I saw that their farewell match, their final match. That's when I stopped watching TNA. But I will also go Macklin because EY I think is older than me, and isn't Macklin like the young hot thing that's in big feuds that they think that they got a diamond in the rough from the WWE scrap pile a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, he's had his run though. He's just he's a better heel. I don't really dig him in this. Well, because he is healing again, kind of, isn't he? They're both like tweeners, no, Chris? Or is that?
I mean, look, he's go back to what he is. It's just that badass tough guy who
they tried to put him like really over as a baby, and it just wasn't working for me. Obviously they adjusted because
All right.
But yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna say Macklin pulls it off. What about you, Chris? You choose Macklin as well?
Yeah.
Macklin. Okay, so the Ultimate X match. I'm looking forward to this. I hope it goes off without a hitch. We have Laredo Kid. We have what's his name? Riley Osborne. We have Hotch. We got Mike Bailey. We got Hammerstone, and we got Zach Wentz, who's also fighting Wesley at No Mercy. And yeah, so I don't see him winning this one. Hammerstone, we talked about it on Last Call podcast already, but I don't see Hammerstone winning this one. I think Mike Bailey retains it. I think we're going to see Hotch and Osborne do some shit to get over. Osborne, of course, is an NXT wrestler who's in the fucking Ultimate X. I mean, amazing. And Laredo Kid is awesome, but I just don't see him being the guy who takes the title from here. I think what we'll see is Mike Bailey maybe spurn off with Osborne a little bit. Because I could see Mike Bailey being a guy that NXT would have interest in a little bit. And so that's my prediction. I think we just see a title defense with Mike Bailey. What say you, Chris?
I'm going to Hammerstone. I mean, look,
okay.
He's been snake bitten early because of an injury. They didn't announce what it was. I heard it was with him, the torn pectoral a while back. He's now healthy, finally, and he's money. I mean, you look at him, and he's one of those guys that just looks like a wrestler.
Yeah,
looks like a superhero type star. This is, I think, Bailey. It was nice. Bailey's a nice story, but he is what he is, and they need to build up some big heels. So Hammerstone is basically that perfect bully, athletic power guy.
Man, the Rascals should do their same fucking entrance in TNA that they do in NXT. I think it'd just be smart, like just that brand, just that recognition, That's why they do it in WWE, It's just people can identify right away. But anyways, that's nitpicky of me. Yeah, Hammerstone, I just don't think they pull the trigger on him. Where the fuck is Jake something? I hope he's not injured. But in the next match, we have Hardys.
Yeah, don't I get a pick?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Did I skip you, Dose? I thought I did you for my bad.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, I don't know who some of these people are. I don't know who Hotch is or Hutch is. But I mean, we know that the guy from
I do either.
Yeah, we know that the guy from NXT isn't going to win. We know that Trey Miguel is probably going to be screwed by Wesley, so they're out. The only purpose of these multi-person matches, except to have people running around like pinballs, is to protect the champion when he loses. So he doesn't have to factor into it. So I'm also going to go with Hammerstone. They signed someone to be probably their franchise player. He hasn't really been their franchise player yet. So this is a step in that direction, and it's easy to protect Bailey and do some crossover with NXT setting up for Sunday.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to go with Hammerstone.
I like that, man.
Plus, during
Hammerstone
COVID,
is the man. Like, if he won, I wouldn't be mad at all. But I think that Mustafa Ali went on that undefeated streak for so long. Like, he turned down the G1 because he told them, like, hey, yeah, I'll be in it, but, like, I have to go undefeated and win it. Right? And it all built up to him losing to Bailey and then leaving TNA. Like, I feel like it's just too early to fucking have Bailey drop the belt already. I think we'll see that X Division belt go to NXT like a little bit, and maybe even see NXT be like, well, here's some of our X Division quote unquote type guys. By the way, I just popped hard for hearing the Chase U music. And on TNA, I thought that was really fucking cool right there. They had a Chase U graphic and all that. But I agree, Hammerstone's my guy. I've been following him for a long time. And we will talk about SmackDown, guys. I watched it earlier. It was available like way earlier in the day because they're in Germany. So we will talk about that as well.
The best feud during COVID, during the pandemic, was Hammerstone versus the Ducks.
Yeah.
At his house.
And the stuff he did with Jacob Fatu is amazing. Sorry, go ahead.
He was having a feud with these ducks when he was trying to work out outside. This family of ducks would bother him every day.
Okay. Okay, where were we? Okay, so we have the Hardys, Hendry, and Santana taking on the System. And then on the women's side, as I pointed out, it's sort of like the women on the one side, Ash, Alicia, and Slamovich represent the System as well. So we have like 2 tag matches that are like multi-person, and it's sort of like the System's clinging on to fucking, it's like Team TNA versus the System, basically, right? In the male and women. So I'm gonna predict them both, and I think the System or no, am I just going all babyface wins all night? That's where I got to think about. Okay, I say that the fucking knockouts System ladies win theirs, but the men lose theirs. Okay, those are my 2 predictions.
Who are the actual people?
Oh, sorry. So on the male side, we have the Hardy Boys, Joe Hendry and Mike Santana, Team TNA, taking on the System, which is Moose, Dirty Dango, so Dango Curtis, you know who that is. Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. So I pick Team TNA for the men.
Whichever team the Hardys and Joe Hendry are on, are going to win this.
Yes. What say you, Chris?
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be Team Hardy. Mike Santana and Joe Hendry. I see Santana getting the pin over either Dirty Dango or Eddie Edwards and continuing his feud with eventually getting Moose one-on-one. I mean, that's the big one for them. Santana is sort of the guy they're building up to be like one of the next big faces.
And they should.
Okay, we got 3 different guys wearing black and green in the ring right now. One of them, I believe, is from WWE as well, like just wear Chase U colors. And then we had fucking Alex Hammerstone right off rip, no selling super kicks to little dudes, which is like, okay.
You shouldn't have a guy like that just bumping around like, 180-pound guy.
I agree. Don't bump, but it was just crazy how he just ate them all and fucking. But yeah, this Hotch guy's impressive. I think he'll stand out a lot in this, but he won't quite get the win. Okay, now on the women's side, we have Ash by Elegance, Alicia Edwards, Eddie Edwards' wife, and Masha Slamovich, who's like their hired gun, and they're essentially representing the System as well. Jesus Christ. I'm getting a phone call, sorry. And then on the other side, we have Team TNA, which is Jordan Grace and Jody Threat. And I'm so sorry. I'm Chris Connor.
So it's Danny Luna, Jody
Danny
Threat.
Luna, pardon me. I forgot her name. Is on the tip of my tongue. Yeah. So, and it's Spitfires, their tag team name, and they're like Team TNA basically. So I am predicting the women, like Ash wins this and gets a win over Jordan. So they kind of progress that storyline a bit.
Well, now that I'm very close friends with George Iceman, obviously I have to go for Ash.
Fair enough. What say you, Chris?
Yeah, if this feels like Ash is going to get the win, she's going to steal it so they can keep the feud with her and Jordan Grace until they can either A, get Tessa Blanchard, or B, get somebody else to sort of eventually take the belt off of Jordan.
Right. Yeah. And I like that Ash has really stepped up in this feud, like skill-wise and everything.
I think it's helped that they got rid. Like R.D. Evans was a guy who was really pushing a lot of the Iceman stuff, making it silly. And ever since he left, they've made Ash more serious, which I think helps. She's not Toni Storm. She can't pull off sort of the goofy, that gimmick. It takes a lot. And a lot of people just can't do it. And she's one of them.
And I want to talk about, if you guys are here and you guys know, and you guys have, Chris, have you, and Dose, have you guys, either of you watched SmackDown? Jesus, the top rope cutter.
Not today, but I know the results, so I know what's happened over in Germany.
Okay, yeah, because I'm going to talk about it in a bit. I'm going to call this Ultimate X match here.
Don't worry about spoilers for me. It doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah. But just Nia Jax, man, in the main event, her and Mia Yim, like, how about Mia Yim? I don't want to say reinventing herself, but just really showing that, like, what she's capable of with the hardcore shit, and then Nia just getting a monster push. And after she came back, she did jobs for people, and everyone's, oh, they're just burying Nia. And then she's just getting a monster push, dude. And yeah, the thing with Tiffy's really over, and I don't know, man, just a great go home show. We'll cover it all, we'll review it all, but man, just like a solid go home show. And that's what WWE announced. They said, we are going to do lesser matches. Oh, Mike Bailey fucking flips off one of the poles of the Ultimate X after getting kicked into a crowd of people who were all just standing around waiting for him, let's be honest. But TNA filmed around it properly. But yeah, man, WWE said it. They're going to do less matches and have really epic go-home shows that are stacked. And, I mean, I've been preaching that this whole fucking time. I've been preaching that for a year, folks. So, yeah, I'm all for it. And just a great go-home show for sure. But, yeah, we'll talk about it a bit. We have 5 guys climbing on ropes. Chris Connor, do you have Emergence on tonight?
I have Emergence on, yes.
Good, yeah. And Dose, I know you don't.
I'm watching it through your eyes.
Are you? Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Peering through my soul. So, Dose, like, how do you feel about, like, AEW still not anything with the TV deal? You know what I mean? Like, isn't that pretty wild?
I mean, I guess it's wild if you believe the wrestling media who keep telling you imminently, you know, pretty much every week with clockwork. But I mean, I don't mean to toot my own horn because none of it is my own original invention. But I was told by somebody in the know who I identified probably 6 months ago now that they made an offer this time last year, a little bit, you know, probably like October-ish. And they said there would be no announcement until the third quarter of 2024.
Yeah.
And it would be by the network. And today is August 30th. So we're you know, towards late in the third quarter. There's one more month. So, I mean, nobody else said that. I mean, they've been in trouble ever since there was no deal prior to the upfronts. Make no mistake about that. Yeah. That's when you're selling your programming to advertisers. I don't know what network doesn't have their budget for the first quarter or first half of 2025 already spent. I don't know what network has 5 hours of primetime television available that is a sizable network 52 weeks out of the year. It seems to me that there's only one network that fits, which is WBD, and maybe a couple streaming services, but you know, that's Apple and Amazon. I don't think they're interested in wrestling, though they seem to like geek culture. They've got Lord of the Rings and Evolution and The Boys and stuff like that. I don't know if it's the same thing or not. They have flexibility with programming, obviously, because it's streaming, but that's going to kill, you know, viewership. It's going to kill live attendance, though that's already dead. But that's also going to kill pay-per-view buys because that's the only thing that's doing well for AEW. So I think this is a disaster. I mean, the exclusive, I can tell you right now, the exclusivity period was never 7 months, 3 weeks. There's not such a thing in a 1-year contract. You have maybe 3 or 4 months. If it was anything longer than that to begin with, Warner Brothers Discovery won before they even got to the table. I think that they mutually agreed to extend it because why wouldn't Warner Brothers? Tony's a dummy and he's loyal, or he thinks he's loyal. He thinks that's going to be rewarded, but that doesn't happen in the real world. But he doesn't live in the real world. He lives.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
You're right. So I don't know. I think it's entirely consistent with what I relayed that somebody else told me. So I mean, there's 1 month to go to see what the announcement actually is. So if there's details and they're over 125 a year, they won. If there's no details, you know it's a bad deal. And then the other alternative is that they walk away, and then Tony buys WAEW on formerly known as the Spike Network or whatever.
Yeah. I think that they just stay on like TBS or whatever. I've been saying it since day one. They'll just be with Warner, but just like in a lesser capacity. Like I just think they're going to tack on a third hour to Dynamite, and then they're just going to air that third hour of Rampage, and then just say, oh, Dynamite's a third hour. Then Rampage won't be on Fridays. Collision won't exist, or it'll be on YouTube, or it'll just go to streaming, like only streaming Collision, an hour of wrestling, or it'll just go down to an hour. They'll get rid of Battle of the Belts. Ring of Honor will be rebranded as AEW ROH or something. And if that doesn't happen, then yeah, I agree. He'll just like start his own network or buy a station and then start like the AEW Plus or whatever. I agree. But at the same time, I could just see them. He's wearing the WBD hats and all this shit. Like, I know Tony's silly, but he's not. I think that's him.
Great.
Like, yeah. Go ahead.
That's great, but I mean, and I'm glad Eagle brought all this up, because here's something people don't get. There's a new head of programming for WBD. And
big studio woman. Yeah, she deals with like
Channing Dungeon. And I bring that up because, well, no, she wants scripted programming. And already they've announced, hey, we have 2 new shows coming in the fall, which is The Librarians. They picked that up from the CW. And they've greenlit another program called Briefing the President. So she's trying to get rid of the pro wrestling. She's trying to get rid of, the cranky anchors. Because that, to her, is
well, you could argue that AEW is scripted programming. Okay, so Wentz and Bailey are hanging on like by their feet, having a kickboxing match in the air, hanging by their fucking legs. Here we go. Dude, Wentz might win this thing, and then he'll defend it. Wentz won it. The guy that I said wouldn't.
Yeah,
he's about to win it. He just won the belt and is going to fight Wesley with the X. Well, I was right about them getting the X Division title on NXT. So tomorrow at No Mercy, Sunday, Wentz is going to walk into No Mercy with the X Division title. That's fucking huge.
It would that becomes a title match,
bro.
I doubt there'll be a title now.
If they put it on the line, that'd be crazy. But I doubt that'll happen. I think Wesley will beat Wentz, and then Wesley will show up in TNA because he already did before, like a couple weeks ago. And I think with the Rascals, but since they're feuding, Wesley is going to go, hey, I already beat you on NXT. Let me challenge you at TNA. What's the next one? Victory Road for the X Division title. And then we'll get a Wesley Wentz in TNA as well for the X Division. And then probably Wentz will get his win back. But it's crazy to me that Ali went on that undefeated streak to drop to Bailey in his hometown, for Bailey to drop that shit to Wentz this early. That's crazy to me. But I trust the process of whatever WWE and TNA have in mind here.
Well,
but
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Mike Bailey speak? I mean, it's great. He does wonderful moves and everything, but Zach Wentz right now is over. Zach Wentz has had, like Hammerstone is a guy who can talk. If you can't talk, it's tough to get over, because there's only so much wrestling people go before it's like, all right, well, we forgot. And I think Mike Bailey needs something. He needs to do something, or else he's just going to be one of those
stick him with a mouth who can put over his moves. Yeah. Like, if you see his fantastic kicks, razor sharp accuracy and da-da-da. Okay, but Shaggy Filth 73 for $5 says, War Dog Apollo thinks the deal is done, but Tony's trying to renegotiate it because he wants more. What's your thoughts on that, Dose? Chat me up, Dose, about what you think AEW.
Oh, this is actually directed to me. I mean, I don't understand why they would hold off on announcing that. What is the gain of that? And if the deal is already done, but Tony is trying to renegotiate, that's just dumb. Why would they? So, I mean, every day that goes by, the price goes down because of what we talked about before. The box gets smaller and smaller. And we haven't heard a single story from anybody, not even the friendly sources, to AEW, the friendly media, talking about any other interested party. I'm of the belief that if there was anyone else interested, that Tony would be singing loud and singing proud about it, or at least leaking it to his favorites, or Will Washington would, or whatnot. So I'm not saying that the deal isn't done. I just don't know what the tactical reason is for not having announced it. That's silly. Your ratings stink. Nobody's buying your shows. They didn't announce the pay-per-view buys for All In. They always talk
Dude,
about
they didn't announce how many people were there. Sorry to interrupt, but like they weren't like 55,000 in attendance. Tony's just like, there were 50,000 tickets sold, and it's like, you bought another 10. You bought 10,000 again, didn't you, Tony? Sorry, go ahead, Dos.
Yeah, well, I think he starts off buying 10,000. But anyway, no, I don't think so, because it doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, not making sense is entirely consistent with Tony Khan. So, I don't have any particular insight into that besides what I was told, months ago. I haven't had any new information. I mean, they sealed that place up about 2 or 3 weeks before that horrible earnings call came out. So nobody's talking without the top people's approval. So, even my outside source, who had a similar source, his company, who's a contractor, they made them also sign contracts. They're like, nobody's talking, no leaks from anywhere. So no, I don't. I think that is a little bit conspiratorial and a little bit too fun, and that's not really how things work. When you sign a contract and you have no leverage, what's your power in trying to renegotiate it? My new normal is now under 700,000. Yay.
Yeah, you're right about it, man. Josh Alexander cutting a good promo. And Chris, what say you, man? Do you think it like, where do you think AEW lands, if it lands anywhere? I feel like Dose comes on, and that's all I can ask you about, man. But it's just like, better than anyone, in my opinion. You speak about it the most intelligently, the most knowledgeable. I don't know, but yeah, I definitely
maybe. I mean,
they're just gonna stick with fucking TBS or so. It's gonna be something to do with Warner still. That's just my opinion on it. But yeah, what say you?
I think your theory sounded perfectly good, and I could see AEW presents Ring of Honor going on True TV, and I think Rampage is better off as hour 3 of Dynamite, and forget about Rampage. And Collision, I think, doesn't matter. I think that
doesn't matter.
In the 400s, it's doing fine. It's not doing great, but it's doing fine. So I don't know. I know some of this stuff drives me crazy, but for the right price, it's a perfectly good investment for a TV network. The question is, I mean, everyone has what the right price. I mean, they think AEW is worth $2 billion. No, it's not. It's never made $1.
No, it's never made $1.
So, I don't know. We could talk about this forever, but it's
forever.
We'll know when we know. The only thing we don't know is if we'll actually find out any details. But we will one day, whether it's this year or in 4 years, because there's some lawsuit. Maybe it's the Kevin Kelly lawsuit, whatever it is. This stuff will come out at some point, some way, somehow.
Yeah. Chris, though, what your prediction, man? Access TV or what? Tubi?
Probably. I mean, because I know everybody's saying, "Oh, it's going to land." I know Doge is saying if this, Ring of Honor could land on True Sports. I don't see it, because True Sports is, they did their whole press release. You go on their sports page, and they don't mention a word about pro wrestling. They don't want pro wrestling on True Sports. Their feeling is it's not real. True Sports is going to be like NCAA basketball, NHL hockey, Major League Baseball. That's what they want. They want real sports on that. Now, WWE is a whole different beast. That's pro wrestling. Most networks sort of look at it and it's like, it's carny. It's cartoonish. It's something we don't want, advertisers don't want to be assigned with. So I'm worried about it. Look, you have UFC TV rights coming up at the end of 2025. They've already said we are open for the highest bidder. We're open for multiple bidders. So, look, Warner Brothers lost out probably on the NBA. Unless there's a Hail Mary of a lawsuit, they're going to lose out on it. I can easily see Warner just going, you know what? We'll get rid of AEW, save the money, and then once the UFC comes up, buy a package from them. We'll have UFC fight nights instead of AEW events because, hey, we can put that on our True Sports, and it is something that draws money. It is something that advertisers want to be a part of. It is a, quote, real sport.
Yeah.
AEW's going to Animal Planet. Chat. Jesus.
Well, I mean, if you're a network, why would you want something that doesn't get over 1 million viewers, that has had problems with legal issues, whether it's been MJF punching a wall, whether it's been, wrestlers swearing even though they've been told please do not swear, bleeding, whether it's Kevin Kelly lawsuit, whether it's been other incidents, and it's something that has been stagnating for the last 3 years. Explain to me, like, if you're Apple, if you're Amazon, if you're even hell, CBS, like, why the hell would you want AEW when they're asking for at least $90 to $100 million per year, and they're going, nope, I can get something for cheaper.
Yeah,
No,
well,
you're right.
Way back when, Phil, I think I said it here, that at some point that Tony, if he's smart enough to have a plan B, his plan B is just to buy an FCC signal and call it victory. Say, this was my plan all along.
So you just think it's, I don't know,
No,
a pure fumble, just a fumble.
I think, listen, I don't remember what percentages I gave it last time, but I think last time I said it's probably 55 or 60 to stay on Warner Brothers Discovery. We'll just we just won't know what the terms are for a long while, but 40% that he gets his own network. And, listen, it's, if this goes, WrestleNomics said Labor Day is after Labor Day is panic time. I think panic time again was before the upfronts. So I don't know that Labor Day is of any particular panic, but the end of Q3 is. If there's not a deal by October 1, I think you should assume that either their AEW is going to be taking a bad deal, or the number is going to get lower every day. It's not going to be a static deal, or he's going to become a TV station owner and say that was his plan, and he's going to pretend that that's a real business too, and all of the fans will say, now he's making so much money, he owns a TV station, what a mogul.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you, Dose. How much does this hurt the rest of the industry not named WWE? I mean, if you're TNA, if you're MLW, and you're trying to get a TV deal because you're trying to grow, like, how much has AEW sort of hurt the industry for everybody else when, in terms of other companies, other networks, other even streaming services going, hey, let's take a chance on something that's not WWE?
I mean, there's so many permutations that I don't think that it really does, to be frank with you. I mean, obviously it depends on what happens, but the thing about TNA is that it's owned by Anthem, which owns Access TV. So it's not like they're looking for another TV deal. They should be, but they're not. So it doesn't. So if anything, I'm not sure. I think it's a neutral factor. I'm not, NWA was going to be on CW, and then Billy did the cocaine thing, and now they're on the CW app. And actually, Aaron Idle, who's Damian Sando, said that, well, he's Aaron Stevens, but anyway, I said in October, don't you guys go to the regular network? He's like, we don't know. We really don't know. So they don't know. MLW, I mean, if anyone's watched MLW recently, I stopped watching about 6 months ago because it was unwatchable. It's not a TV friendly product. So, if AEW falls off of Warner Brothers, and let's just say networks were interested in wrestling, I think it actually helps those promotions if they come at it realistically, saying, we're not expecting 90 million or 150 million or 175 million a year. We'll take that NXT money, or we know we're not going to give you 600,000 viewers like NXT, but we can get you 300,000. So we'll take an $11 million a year deal. We'll sign for 4 years and then year for $14 million a year. But give us some back end incentives or something. And I think for that kind of cheap programming, I think it actually help some of these other promotions, especially TNA, if they want to, meaning they, Anthem, NWA, if Billy's taken some steps. He's signed some people to exclusive NWA contracts, which I assume means exclusive TV, not exclusive period. But it's nobody that they haven't been using for the last couple of years, or very few people, and no household names. But he's doing things to position himself to get there if the ball is fumbled. So I don't know. I think actually AEW fumbling, if there is still a appetite for wrestling, I think helps them. If AEW stays on Warner Bros. Discovery, that's one less major network that's interested in wrestling on TV. I don't think anybody else is going to be rushing for it.
Well, I don't know. According to Tony Khan, WWE's inflating the prices of wrestlers, but as we find out, WWE's not willing to pay some of these guys as much as Tony thinks they're worth. And apparently Swerve is one of the biggest deals in all of wrestling.
Well, we've heard the same story with two different spins in back-to-back days. One day, WWE is bidding on people and artificially inflating their value. The next day, WWE doesn't want to pay fair market value and think that Tony's screwing up the market. I mean, I think the same people are reporting it. Tony didn't like the spin, so they changed the spin. I think it's all bullshit. Listen, I'm not against anyone getting the bag. And listen, if Swerve is getting paid the same as Okada and Monet, that's great, because I think he's actually better and worth more than both of them. But none of them are drawing flies. But if any of them are getting what half of what they're rumored to be getting, they're all hideously overpaid.
Yeah. So we got Macklin against Eric Young here. The crowd's a little dead for this one. We're sort of just talking through it because it's not I don't know. I haven't been into this feud really the whole time.
It's a thrown together feud. And in fairness, when you have the 8-man tag, when you have, the X division, and when you have, PCO tied up until Matt Cardona can come back, you're trying to keep Macklin busy. You're trying to get him a win. You're trying to give him something where it's just an easy win, give them momentum until something better can,
I want to see Eric Young start up like that Sanity group again or whatever, like something like that, and I know he kind of did it with Violent by Design or whatever, but I just think he's better as like a faction leader now and like a mouth for a lot of these guys, not saying he's not good in ring, but he's sort of been there and done that, and he could still wrestle, but he's got to like lead a group of crazy guys, and I think that's where he does his best work. But the crowd's waking up a bit. Double clothesline spot got him into it. But yeah, I want to let's talk about SmackDown a little bit in Berlin, Germany. So LA Knight came out, huge, mega, omega pop. Okay. And then he's like, yeah, I have a United States Open challenge. And he's like, I don't give a damn. We can call this the whatever he said, the global champion or the continental championship or some shit. Like, I don't know if it was a shot at AEW or what, but he said some shit where it was like, oh shit, dummy. Yeah. And LA Knight comes out and he's like, yeah, open challenge. And then the fucking, what are they called? Ring Kampf. What are they called in Imperium music hits. And I'm such a mark. I'm like, what is their, I remember their indie name. As Macklin just dives headfirst on the outside of the ring.
Well, it's Monet's music also.
Yes. So the music hits, the intro hits, and then people pop for it. And then Kaiser comes out. And then he grabs the mic and the crowd just starts erupting for him. And then they kind of turn on LA Knight because Kaiser's like, yo, I'm going to win that shit and become the European champion. Okay. And then fucking they kind of pop. And then LA Knight's like, yeah, that's dumb, blah, blah, blah. They kind of turn on him, but they're behind him. And then they put on a stellar, like, opening contest, BFT. LA Knight wins. I don't know. Awesome way to open this show. Your guys' thoughts. Are you going to tune into it if you haven't seen it? Just amazing intro. And the crowd is going to be so fucking hot tomorrow morning. I already can tell. What are you guys thinking about that?
No, I'm happy enough hearing it from you. I don't need to watch 2 hours more of wrestling.
Chris, once I know because it's you knew he was, it's SmackDown. It's some good matches, but it's SmackDown, and he knew what was going to happen. It's just basically a way to get Kaiser, who's German, on the in front of the audience because hey, it's a hometown crowd. They want to give him a bit of a pop, and they want to give him a reward for being a good worker. That's it. But otherwise, no. I'll watch Bash in Berlin, but I'm not watching 2 more hours of SmackDown. I'm sorry.
I fucking love SmackDown, dude. We had Los Garza. Okay, so Angel and Berto now go by the name Los Garza, and their grandfather Hector Garza was an original LWO member in WCW, right? And they're with Elektra Lopez, and they defeat Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, which is a random thrown together tag team. But this match was actually pretty awesome. And I don't know, like, if we're getting a Corbin Apollo feud out of this. I don't know if they're trying to get some guys in that mid card to challenge. Like, you know, I imagine LA Knight versus Corbin is better than him fighting Santos Escobar or whatever. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know if that's what we're building up to, but I like that they're leaning into the like Angel and Berto Garza. Just call them both Garza. That's what their grandfather's name is. And I don't know. I'm down with that. And the match is pretty solid. And they got to win, a much needed win. And I know you guys are probably like, whatever. But
no, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I like them as,
it's okay. It's just
I like them as a tag team, and I like that they're and I like that teams are winning. And while it's fine to do something with Corbin and Cruz, I prefer that longtime teams have success. You know, more often than not. I understand the value of like the RKO and the RK Bros and AJ and Omos and mashup teams going back to the Rock and Sock, but I like when teams are involved having success, and it makes the tag team titles feel more important. But yeah, no, that's a long way of me saying no, Phil. I liked it.
I don't care. I mean, it's great. It's look, it shows living proof that it's just outside of Rey Mysterio, they have failed trying to get that next sort of star. I mean, they've tried. They've gone through so many Latino wrestlers, and Dom's the only other guy who can get a reaction. Everybody else, it's okay. It's nice. They do a lot of moves. They do high spots, but there's no personality.
Like Priest is Latino.
Cody, I would say Priest is. Yeah. There's a huge difference between Mexican wrestlers and Damian Priest.
I have a secret for everybody. What they learned in India when they thought that Jinder having the title was a big deal was that the crowds there were cheering for Triple H. People like stars. So, sure, it's fun for people in Mexico and Latin America to see Mexicans and Latin Americans and South Americans representing, but they still want to see the stars. I mean, the Avengers did a whole lot of money, on every continent, not just the U.S. And people cried when Iron Man died, in every continent. They weren't like, oh, I want to see someone like myself die. No, they were in the moment. But, people like stars. So,
and now he's back as Dr. Doom, bitch. That's how big of a star. That's how much people like stars. RDJ's back as Doom. Okay.
Well, don't get me started on that. I'm not into that. But anyway, I think if people stop worrying about it, stars will emerge on their own. I think Santos might be on his way. But I think if you don't wear a luchador mask, people forget that you're Latino. I mean,
so we got the Bloodline. Sorry, and then we have Nick Nemeth cutting a fiery promo. They cut such good backstage fiery fucking promos in TNA. I like it. But yeah, so sorry. Solo previews the Bloodline. Sorry, guys. SmackDown spoilers. And versus Street Profits and DIY by highlighting all of the family members they've destroyed since he became tribal chief. Solo says he took ownership of this era, and he did that to family. Imagine what he'll do to DIY and the Profits, which I believe the GODs are going to win this, obviously. Tomorrow we can do some Bash in Berlin predictions, but Solo says he doesn't care if Owens or Rhodes wins at Bash. He's coming for both of them. And then we had our Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens face-to-face, which is really good. And they went back and forth and heated up a bit, KO was kind of like talking that shit. And he's like, what happens when I beat you? And Cody's like, oh, you're looking past me type shit. And then Andrade fought Carmelo Hayes, which people can say what they want, but I love Andrade. He just comes in, puts on bangers, dips out. I'm okay with that. Hopefully he gets into something serious soon, though. I would love for there to be like a light heavyweight title or some shit, the cruiserweight belt back or something.
No,
I know people don't like that back in the day, but
no.
I don't know. I'm into
This
it.
doesn't
And
work.
then,
No,
yeah.
God, David, I love you, Phil, but no,
I
it's
know.
the dumbest division ever. Nobody even wanted to be a part of it. I mean, even Rey Mysterio would tell back in the day, like, I did not want to be part of that division. You want to get out because people look down on it.
This one's Andrade's 230.
Yes.
I know he's jacked up, man, but that's what I mean. Call it light heavyweight then. Say it's like
then Cody
I don't
Rhodes
know,
belongs to the division. I mean,
Yeah, well, Cody Rhodes is 220. So what?
I know you're right, dude. Yeah, I know it's a bad concept. It's just that
Billy,
like there's
it's
it's
not
like that's
for
why X
Andrade.
Division works in 2024 because X Division's like here's gonna be crazy shit, you
Right.
know, and that's why it's like WWE needs something like that. I guess the speed title, yeah. And
They
hey, your
really
guy's on
don't.
screen right here, introducing Ash by Elegance. This is your guy right here, Dose.
Ah, my guy. Hi, George.
Amazing.
Did you
Need
say hi back?
trios titles for women too. Damn, I don't know
No,
about all of that.
no,
That's too
gee,
much. Yeah, that even I'm saying that's
you're
too
becoming
much.
you're like Tony Khan all of a sudden. Now. Stop, Phil. I love you, but stop. No more.
In the main event, though, we had the women's championship street fight, Nia Jax versus Michin, and fuck, man, to steal Twitter lingo. This is ball right here, okay? This match is fucking ridiculous. Michin's just been incredible lately, and Nia as well. Monster push. One's up. She's Bloodline. We got Bloodline all over the place. Roman's back. Nia's crushing. Everyone talked all that shit. And amazing stuff. Make sure you go out of your way to watch that SmackDown main event. That's all I'll say. And maybe I'm blowing it too much, but that's just my opinion. And yeah. What do you guys think of Nia Jax's monster push there? She put some people over, and then she's getting the world title and a big squashing people and looking really good doing it,
I think it's all good. I love the pairing with Tiffy Time, and I love the tension there, and I love the pairing of Pretty Deadly with Tiffy Time because they were dying, and they're perfect as a glam squad without calling them a glam squad.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I'm glad that Nia Jax is a champion. Bailey's title run felt so lackluster. So look, the more interesting part is going to be when Tiffy ends up, cashing in on Nia Jax. Do they keep her as a heel, or do they turn her full baby face? Do they let the crowd dictate what's going on? Because she's all of a sudden now. I was under the impression like, all right, eventually Nia, Bianca Belair was going to get back into the world title hunt. And now all of a sudden with Tiffy, it's been like, oh, we have something big here. We have something that's organic that has grown. So it's like, what do you do with her going forward?
And on SmackDown, she bumblefucked around, like with Nia, and yeah, there's going to be something there. I think Tiffy goes babyface. I think that's what their aim is.
Yeah,
I don't know. That just makes more sense than Nia Jax, and that's eventually what's going to come of all this. Jimmy B for $5 says, "Oh my God, let's acknowledge him."
Acknowledge me.
Y'all remember the storyline where Matt Hardy developed an eating disorder to become Cruiserweight champ? Yeah, well, did he develop an eating disorder, or was it just like, I got to cut the weight? I got to cut down to 205 to prove to I loved that storyline when I was young because, I don't know, I'm a big like MMA boxing mark and shit from when I was very young too. And to me, I was like, oh shit, he has to make weight to Cruiserweight, like that's crazy. And Matt Hardy V1 as Cruiserweight champ was some of the best SmackDown ever. I know a lot of people boo-boo on the Ruthless Aggression era, but I loved it. I loved all of that. It wasn't really until the PG era. We have the knockouts now, all doing dives. Team TNA versus pretty much team fucking the system. And we got Jordan Grace doing her thing. And so, I don't know. They're literally talking spots out. There's a big botch. The crowd is like, what the fuck just happened? Chat, I don't know if you got Chris Connors. Did you see that? What the fuck just happened?
Look, it's like every wrestling dive, and that's one of the things I hate.
They botched.
Everybody
so hard
waits
there.
around. Well, what do you expect? This happens when you're having somebody running, flip over, and they have to catch people.
I know, but they
it's
went
one of
to
the worst spots
they
in
went
pro
to pick.
wrestling.
Dude, they fucked up. They started going into spots already. You can tell. Look at Jordan looking around, dude. She's pissed. I don't know if like you're up to where I'm at, man, but it's literally like.
No, I know,
okay.
but this is what happens, though. I mean,
yeah,
we saw
they
it with
went to
Jacob
pick her
Fatu when
up.
he did it.
They went to like Jordan, like they went to pick her up. Then Jordan setting up a dive, but then they didn't fucking pick her up. So then Jordan fakes it, goes outside the ring, talks to everyone. Oh, she's really hurt. It looks like Alicia Edwards is shoot hurt, but they just zoomed the camera in on her. So is she really hurt? I don't know, because why would they put the camera on her if she's legit? But she wouldn't get up to get dove on by Jordan Grace. So then Jordan went out there and started calling plays. And then everyone went, literally, they all just scattered, walked to the other side of the ring and started brawling, which I guess is smart so the cameras can not film Alicia, but then they just zoomed in on her while she's laying there unconscious. You see everyone talking. So they obviously have to change the whole match now because Alicia Edwards is like a TNA knockout champion. She's obviously one of the biggest components of this match. She's the main person from the system who put these ladies together. So I'm hoping she's okay. And Jimmy B, yes, I do remember that. And thank you so much for the super chat. Damn, she's being limped off. She got carried off to the back.
Didn't she just learn how to be a wrestler like within the last 5 to 6 years?
I'm not sure, dude, but I hope she is O-fucking-K. I really hope she's okay. They're just doing triple team spots now. And hopefully they can get the crowd back. And yeah, they carried her off. So if I had to guess, she got KO'd, and then Jordan and Ash had to go and call everything on the fly to everybody. No, probably not even Ash. Probably fucking Jordan Grace. Yeah. Jordan went in there and fucking just called the shots, got everyone in order.
I'll say this. If there's ever a weight division, I think the women's wrestling needs it more, because you're seeing more women like Alicia, Zelina Vega, Alexis Bliss, who are just way too small. I mean, the new people are like Bianca Belair, who is over 5'9", 150 pounds. You have Rhea Ripley, you have Lash Legend, you have Jordan Grace, who are all much bigger, much stronger, heavier. And when you see somebody like Alicia, when you see somebody like Zelina, it's like, holy crap, you worry they can't do much, because they're just, it's like a middleweight taking on a heavyweight.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cargill sells way too much for some of these girls too. Like, I love Isla Dawn and Alba Fire, but I don't know, man.
They're witches. They have powers you don't understand.
Yeah. They're spooky.
They also, they also don't want, though, like another, Goldberg / early Brock Lesnar, where you have somebody just come in, destroy everybody, and it's just like, okay, we burned through people within like 6 months because he beaten everybody. I mean, even Braun Breaker is sold, which is weird at times, but that's what Triple H wants. He wants guys to have sort of a feeling of, well, you're not going to get, a monster push. I'm not going to just steamroll you, after 6 months, and you got to be everything. You need to show you can actually wrestle a match.
Well, if they're going to call them all superstars, it's got to be every given Sunday for pretty much everyone except the Tozawa type.
I hope that Killer Kelly comes back and just fucking chokes people out here. That's my hope for this match. I'll hit an X-Files on that. I'd rather see a rest hold over Go ahead.
Because you've been doing, you've followed wrestling more than us here. I mean, how tough is it trying to figure out somebody, like, do they have charisma? Do they have personality? Can they react to a crowd when it's not something you can teach? You either have it or you don't.
Well, I mean, you can teach some of it, but you're right. I mean, some of it comes from within you, and some people it takes a while to click. I mean, the difference between Drew McIntyre 3 years ago and something that clicked in Drew McIntyre about a year or so ago is authenticity. He's been able to merge his real self with his character when he needs to. I think, Hangman Page lacks authenticity. That's sort of been his problem. And some people just have authenticity. I mean, rest in peace, Sid Vicious. he didn't need to do a thing. He just walked to the ring and he just exuded malice. Brock Lesnar
Bro,
exudes
he was
malice.
fucking terrifying. Sid was fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
But Sheamus, for a while, he was stiff as can be. Then all of a sudden, he started having fun, and people love him. So, I don't know. Sometimes it does click, and people can learn. I mean, Braun Breaker's a great example. 2 years ago, he had no personality. Now he's got personality.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Sheamus never clicked with me for years until, just like you said, he started having fun and like doing like he was just going out there and like fighting McIntyre and Gunther and shit, and it's like with the Brawling Brutes, they were just like beating the shit out of each other, and it's not that that's what it takes to get a wrestler over with me by any means, but what I'm saying is like you could just see he was loose out there, and he's like, yeah, fuck it, we're just go fight, it's gonna be good, win, lose, whatever. I don't know. To me, that he just exuded that, and he's on like some Nate Diaz type shit to me. I don't know. I love that, and I'm down with Sheamus 100%.
But Chelsea Green, she's over without. I mean, when she wins, it's by accident, and people love it. I mean, so there's like lots of different ways to get over, and it's not about titles and whatever. But for some people, it is. I worry about people like Ilya Dragunov, who all they can really do is wrestle, which you think should be enough, but it's not.
There needs to be some sort of I want to see more managers again in wrestling, because we're seeing all these factions again. So, okay, I guess if like a wrestler can talk, let him talk. But I want to see some of these guys have like mouthpieces or just people who can get over their shit or sort of create these personalities, paint the picture for them almost a little bit, because you're right. I agree. Like Dragunov, he kind of waves his arms to the ring and he can wrestle really good and he screams. Okay, and I love Dragunov, don't get me wrong, but Gunther even showed it as a great example. Like, you got to be able to wrestle, but you got to be able to get your fucking gimmick over as well. It's such a key thing. And, Gunther epitomizes like all the mat is sacred. Like that sort of pure wrestling thing. And so what is Dragunov going to present?
Look at LA Knight.
Whatever, That's why I get upset with AEW, because it's like, yeah, this guy's amazing because he does crazy ass flips, and that's dope. But like, if there's 7 guys who all do that, and there's more than 7 in AEW, it's like, then why is it dope in this setting? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't want to fucking beat a dead horse here either. So.
Let me tell you how it makes sense. If everything is extraordinary, nothing's extraordinary.
Exactly.
They make the extraordinary ordinary, and then when things go badly, it that's all you focus on.
Yeah. Jody Threat gets the pin, and we saw Alicia Edwards get knocked the fuck out. So and she was out the whole match. So that was the shoot. Who even knows if the finish was changed? We don't know. I don't know. I haven't predicted this at all. So not the embassy, the system, the embassy. What am I talking about?
The good guys won.
So Jordan Grace and Spitfire, won.
Yes, Team TNA won. Here we go. We're gonna get ABC, and they need teams like a motherfucker too. ABC needs to go to NXT and start mixing it up with people, because they need fucking teams. Man, they fought all the same teams. They're on their 3rd reign with those belts, and they're amazing. But they're just fighting. Like, I get it. Rich Homie Swan and AJ Francis were supposed to team up. Swan like had an incident, like a whatever DUI incident or whatever. Right. Not to like brush it off, but I don't want to like assume shit. I don't look into it. I know he's in a rehab, so God bless him. Let's hope he gets it together. But Navarro is coming into Casey Navarro's teaming with Francis, which is just random as shit. And I'm not like mad at it. But I don't know, man. This is just a thrown together team for ABC to face, and I want to see them facing real teams.
Well, but here's the thing, though. They were planning to have Top Flight win these. From what that's how it was going to be. It was going to be Top Flight versus ABC, and then all of a sudden the news broke of, hey, Rich Swann got arrested for disorderly conduct, drunken disorderly. Try to. Break into somebody's house, which he thought it was his own, got chased off by somebody who had a weapon. tried to break into another woman's home.
That's fucking crazy.
You know, because unfortunately he has problems with alcohol. So now you're stuck with, hey, we can't just get rid of the whole angle because we already had televised because they do tapings. This is what you do. This is plan B. And plan B is you keep AJ Francis, who is the star of the team, and Casey Navarro is basically the Rich Swann replacement. Is it perfect? No, but as the old saying goes, it's next man up. You work with what you got, not with what you want.
I'm down with AJ Francis, man. I like his whole shtick. He's like Matt Cardona. He didn't really even reinvent himself either. He just went full heel on the indies, and but dude, I love ABC a lot. And I love that they took the Bullet Club thing and they stuck as like a true team throughout it. Like everyone in the Bullet Club always seems like they're trying to break off or do whatever. And I know some of that's up to the booking, but these guys really ran with like their team because they seemed kind of random at the start, in my opinion, or maybe I'm totally off and they came up together. I don't know, but that's when I sort of fell off the Bullet Club a little bit, you know, but the Bullet Club thing, they sort of have dropped that largely as well too, which I'm happy for, you know, like it said, they seemingly they didn't come out to the Bullet Club for life music, and because Bullet Club's sort of like, I don't know, that's a dead scene. No, am I wrong about that? Like I was the biggest mark for it, but that shit hasn't really been over. Like Bullet Club Gold, I guess, even they changed their name and like the OC and that, like that shit's always over. Like Finn Balor's over and those teams are over and shit. Like that's why that it works when they still use little subsections of it. But yeah, I just want to see ABC do their own thing. Go to NXT, man. I think it's time. Like they're ready to go and be like a fucking awesome tag team in WWE. That's my opinion. Maybe they should bring in cruiserweight tag team titles.
No, stop. You're getting they're small.
I have a better idea. Phase cruiserweights out of wrestling.
The junior heavyweight tag titles in WWE, Chris?
No. But I'm glad you brought up AJ Francis because everybody wants to know why he became better. One, he became more him, as Evil Dose likes to say. He found more of his personal sort of angle. And two, he's not doing dives. He's not doing the flippy dippy stuff. He's a big monster who's 6'6", 300 plus pounds. He's legitimate, a former NFL college star football player. He can beat people up. I mean, he's one of those guys you look in the real world and you go, holy crap, this guy could really screw me up if I decide to mouth off. That's who he is. He's finding his niche in TNA. He's no longer, doing the hit row stuff and trying to dive. He's becoming just a big monster heel who has attitude.
He's also hosting wrestling trivia at Jimmy's Seafood in Baltimore next month. So,
okay,
obviously he's not.
Shout out Jimmy's Seafood.
Yeah, obviously he's not full of himself. He's taking gigs. Like I think he's been humbled and he's showing the grind, which I think was the knock on him before, is that he thought he was sort of entitled because he was an NFL player, and he's showing he's real willing to work for it now. So I think that a fandom is rewarding him for that, and that's cool. But as far as ABC and NXT, I mean, I'm agnostic on it. I don't want them to be, if they're going to work with, Malik and Enofe and Hank and Tank and whatever, that's fine as sort of enhancement to train them up and whatever. But I have no interest in more small tag team spirit. I'm interested in more Obafemis than I am in ABC.
Big meaty men, as they say. But here's my whole thing with tag wrestling. I think the littler dudes can get away with more. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like if they tag wrestle properly and they use like double, like that's why the Young Bucks work, man, because they were able to fucking just use like their agile double team moves. And like in Japan it worked because you understand the rules. Like, oh, they have a 20-second count out. So you know what I mean? Like they fucking guy flips out of the ring and he's just standing out there. Like, it's because he's got 20 seconds to do it or whatever. I don't know. It did work at one time and on the indies where shit didn't make sense. It did, man. Enough for them to get fucking AEW off the ground. So
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm not sure that.
I just think the Rockers work for a reason. Like you could watch the Rockers take on the Steiners and it works. Now,
True,
provided
but-
HBK is like 6'2" or 6'1" or 6 feet tall, let's say. I don't know how tall he is, but is he that tall? He's about 6 feet,
No,
right? Or am I-
he's probably was 6 feet, and they
Yeah,
made
yeah.
him, but
But
And
all
he
I'm
was-
saying
he-
is like
he was-
these
I
dudes
don't
can
think you get you.
the littler guys
I get
can
it,
fucking
but-
pull it off a bit, you know, like
There's little guys though, and there's guys who are under 200 pounds. And then, look, as I said, I love Chris Bay. Had him on the show, wonderful guy. I love watching Ace Austin. It's just big guys sell. People want to be the heavyweight champions of the world. Nobody wants to grow up and be like a small guy. You once in a while you get the Rey Mysterio.
tell
Once
that to
in a while
Conor
you get,
McGregor, dude. Yeah,
Tell
Yeah,
that to
but
Conor.
that's
But
real
that's
tell that
fighting,
to
it's
GSP.
different.
Oh, right, but
There's weight
and
class.
tell that to Mike Tyson. Tell that to Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, who make much more money than those guys outside of Conor. I mean,
Yeah,
this
true.
is what it is. People like to see big men beat the crap out of each other and knock people out. That's why Roman Reigns is who he is, and that's why AEW is having trouble with their,
Right.
Darby Allins and Swerve Stricklands and even Bryan Danielsons. It's
You
great.
got
They're
one
small guys
Spider-Man.
and-
Yeah,
Yeah.
one Spider-Man, and there's a bunch of Hercules, Thors, the Things, Colossus, and the
Captain
Hulk.
America, yeah.
Right. I mean that and wrestling is sort of the same. So yeah, there's room for a Rey Mysterio or a Finn Balor, but you don't want to be overpopulated with it. Anyway, I mean the little guy, big guy, the power and glory dynamic. Not the Booker T's a little guy, but Stevie Ray was the bigger guy. I mean, that can work, and I think that you're right. Occasionally, a team like that, but back in the day, Edge and Christian were considered small. Well,
That's what I'm
Edge is
saying.
Edge is a super heavyweight now. What are we
or like
talking
the
about here?
Hardys, bro.
Well, exactly. They're
Edge is a super heavyweight.
Right.
Oh
I mean-
my god, dude!
I mean, you
what?
there's the airport test. When you pass someone in the airport, they look like somebody. Chris Bay and Rich Swann don't. Bobby Lashley does. Brock Lesnar does. But there's also people like Pac who just look scary. He might be 5'6" and 197 pounds.
Yeah.
But he's like Wolverine.
Yeah,
so,
him or Buddy Matthews will fuck you up, dude. Don't get it twisted,
yeah,
man.
there are exceptions to every rule, but the rule needs to be followed so that you can find the exceptions.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right, dude. That's why everyone gets mad at AEW too. It's like, bro, you have Miro and fucking Keith Lee and Wardlow and Hobbs, and none of them are just the looming threat to your world title. Like okay, give the belt to Danielson, fine. But you mean to tell me Wardlow isn't just like right there, like ready to fucking put him into retirement and break him like Bane broke Batman? Like, you really mean to tell me they haven't got one guy like that? He's fighting fucking Christian Cage and Jack Perry. It's like, dude.
I'd be building my tag team division around the Gates of Agony, not Brian Cage, the other two.
Oh man, like
Khan and Taya Leone.
yeah, dude, Bishop Khan and Toa Leone.
Yep.
Dude, those two, and also who just have such a great look, the Butcher and the Blade.
Yeah, all right.
And the fact they did, do
Okay.
you guys not agree? I think they have such like a
No,
good.
I think they're an indie tag team. They look like an indie tag team. They, have that
I
sort
don't.
of.
I think you could have really imagine. I don't know. I don't know. To me, they're like fucking twisted. Simon Gotch and Aiden English.
And
They're
they
like the
indie tag
twisted-
team. I mean, that's.
If they did character work, they could have given us something like that. I just felt like they really have size and strength. And same with those
Well,
bear
they have
dudes.
the righteous.
I think
who
those
could-
bear
who could do
dudes.
it.
would have
Dutch is
been-
enormous.
Yeah. I think Bear Boulder though, and Bear, I forget, Bear Bronson, I think is their names.
Oh,
They
God,
changed their
yeah,
names.
but their whole thing about we like eating ass. I'm sorry. It might
No,
be
not doing
2024, but
that shit as like monster
it's too
dudes.
late.
I
You
know
can't-
it's too late now. I'm just saying back in the day. You know what I mean? I'm saying back in the day, they
yeah.
could
All
have did
right.
a lot.
They
I'm
could
looking
have
at
been
the
a young
shoulda, woulda,
up-and-coming
coulda here.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
right now, I'm watching TNA Emergence, and you're looking at as much as they have three guys who are small. They're not doing a lot of moves where it's dangerous. You're not seeing guys get dropped on their heads.
ABC are the shit, dude. I'm telling you, they get
But-
the tag wrestling. Like,
It's also they know how to work, and even
Yes.
with AJ Francis, he knows what he is. That's the problem with these teams you're mentioning in AEW. It's like, well, they all do the same thing. They're off the top rope. They're doing moves. You look and go, oh crap, someone's going to get hurt. All of them have a personality of a radish.
All I was saying before is that if you have two smaller guys and the idea, their psychology's like, we're going to overwhelm you with our tag offense because we're smaller, and that's how we make up for it. To me, or like what they're doing here, Francis is just like hanging on to him with one arm, and the guy has to like do a couple flippy shits to get out of there, even though he didn't even really do that. You know, to me, I'm like, that's why that works, you know, like that's why the smaller dudes can get away with it in fucking tag wrestling. And I'm okay with like DIY, for instance, as a tag team. When they start being singles, I'm like, okay, cruiserweight title or get the fuck out of here. That's my problem with like Cassidy and Garcia and shit. It's like, okay, cruiserweight title or get the fuck out of here if you're not in a tag team, you know? Maybe that's just me. I'm alone on an island on that one. I don't know.
No, I mean AEW, they have so many titles. Change one of them to a cruiserweight title. I'm all for it. I mean, because why the damage is done. So at least that would make sense. But I'm not really interested in a cruiserweight. I mean, I don't really think they need more titles. But if there was, I'd prefer a hardcore title.
Well,
even the hard, but it's just you have too many titles. You have too many guys who are all the same people. It's literally, it's like, all right, where this, Orange Cassidy, what's the difference between him and Darby Allin sometimes? Well, one wears shades, the other one wears goth makeup. They're the same build, the same style. It's just.
Sorry, I was hydrating there. The chat was asking hardcore title on Raw when they go to Netflix, and then cruiserweight title on SmackDown when they go to USA and get a third hour. What say you guys? Yes or no?
Neither. No.
They have enough titles. Remember, they're building to be 5-match shows or 6-match shows, so they don't need more titles.
I'd be okay if there. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Hardcore is just, you can't do hardcore now with everything that WWE wants to do. When they're the new Disney. They can basically go anywhere they want. People bring their kids. It's a family affair. There's no politics, no blood, no creepiness. They've got that down to a science. So I think they understand you can't do hardcore anymore like they used to. Chair shots are no longer, what people want to see is you don't want to see injuries. You can't do blood because the networks frown on that. So it is what it is. It's
Jake in the chat. Jake in the chat says, "Are they getting a third hour SmackDown?" I completely made that up, bro. I don't know. I'm just like willing it into existence. I don't know. I love wrestling, man. More wrestling. I'm all for more wrestling all the time, forever.
That's you, though. I mean, how many people want to sit through like 3 hours of a show, which can all of a sudden just go on and on and on?
Hey, we just booked Renee Michelle.
Raw has been phenomenal lately. I don't think that would happen.
We just booked Renee Michelle. She's going to talk about Orishas.
Who'd you just book?
Nice.
Renee Michelle.
Oh, nice.
Spud's wife. Yeah.
And she's going to talk about what?
Orishas. They're sort of like African sort of, I would say, guardian angel spirits, kind of jinn, sort of that equivalent. That kind of not quite deity, but not quite not type of thing. Spirit guide, maybe. Is the right word?
Let's go. Well, that'll be awesome. So go and check fucking Doso, guys, if you don't already. Dude, Francis caught this guy in the air. See, I tweeted at AJ Francis. I was like, you need to call your choke slam the broke slam. And he liked it. And so I thought that could happen. But he doesn't call it that. He calls it some other shit. I can't remember. But his choke slam is awesome.
He's one of those guys who also understands social media, which is great. I can't tell you how big that is, especially with boxing, MMA, pro wrestling. Yeah, because that's how people are going to get over. That's how you interact with the fans. You're not going to have traditional media. There's too much time, to get everybody on a show. So, look, credit to AJ Francis. He's understood how to play the game. He understands how to use Twitter, Instagram, and that's also how he sort of reinvented himself. He's become leaned into, hey, this is how I'm going to reach to my fans. This is how I'm going to, become more popular. This is how I'm going to reinvent myself after the whole failed Hit Row fiasco.
That's right. He's grinding. He's showing the hustle. He's showing he's a worker, and that's gonna inure to his benefit. So yeah. And by the way, when you were talking about the little guys working, and it's different, but back in the day, probably the most successful little guy teams were probably the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express. The Midnight Express always had Jim Cornette out there with a tennis racket, and then sometimes there was also Big Bubba Rogers and or Mr. Hughes. So I mean, even though there was always an edge. Now, of course, they were heels, and the Rock and Roll Express, they were more like your Young Bucks, Hardy Boys. So I'm not saying that it there's no room in wrestling for it. It's just right now it's the rule when it should be the exception. That exciting, like sort of matinee idol, glam boys kind of tag team. That should be the exception, not the rule. And right now it feels like it's more the rule. Plus, we might be seeing a Street Profits breakup, but the Street Profits, they move just as well, if not better, than DIY, and they're big guys.
Yeah. So ABC pulled off the win there. They rolled up Navarro, and it appears that Francis and Navarro are just staying together as a team. So that's cool. And then up next we have System, and none of these matches have gone too long either, which is good. But we're looking at Rebby Hardy's bad acting, and we're getting this match here, and this package is great.
Credit to TNA. They understood, okay, we can't do the usual, let's throw 12 matches in there. We're going to do all the same thing. The card is moving along fast. It's six matches, not too long. We're not going to, have 30-minute match here, 25-minute match there, and then another 25 minutes, and all of a sudden you're going, oh crap, it's 11 o'clock and the show still isn't halfway over. I mean,
plus
they're learning from WWE.
So it'll end the show will end at 10:30. I mean, which is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, so we are getting the System. Yeah, this is a solid package, very WWE. But no, yeah, so Dango's fully in the System. Maybe I'm just completely wrong and the System doesn't fall apart and they're just getting started. Maybe. But they had their reign of terror with all the gold, and now it seems like Team TNA should just finish them off type thing, and then they can feud with each other and shit, But they're adding members actively, so who knows?
Well, Moose is their star. I mean, it's funny if AEW likes to find all these small guys, as we said, like Danielson, Darby Allin, Swerve Strickland. TNA at least is when Moose is one of our big stars. He's one of the faces of the company. And he, as Evil Dose pointed out, he passes the airport test. You walk up to him and you realize, holy crap, this is a former starting offensive tackle for the Atlanta Falcons, 6'6", 275 pounds, built like a tank, can easily lift your car and toss you around if you pissed him off. That's what sells. That's what people like, to see that big monster heel who eventually gets his comeuppance by the babyface. And Moose, credit to him, he's come a long way. Years ago, he was a lot more chubbier. He's more heavier. He's literally shredded down from 300 pounds down to about 270, and he looks fantastic. And he's one of those big men who can work, but not just do flippy stuff that kills himself. He knows how to work a good match.
Here we go. Santana's coming out.
Yeah, Santana's another guy with good size that they're building around. I mean, not 80s big guy, but I met Mike Santana. He's 6'1", 6'2", and he's put on a lot of weight. He's probably a solid 225 to 230 now. That's fine for these days.
Matt Hardy's coming out with Joe Hendry's song, I Believe in Matt Hardy.
Oh, God. Delete.
And it's a remix with Joe Hendry and the Hardys.
Delete.
I mean, look, I get it. Their names. That's why it's great for TNA to have them. But I'm just glad that it's not a long-term deal. These guys are on paid appearances because they need to wrap this up. And I love the Hardys as much as anybody, but they've become that team that just hung around too long, and you're going, okay, just you need to go away, please go away.
This is crazy, man. I can't believe Jeff is still like. I love Jeff all the time. When I was a kid, he was like everyone's favorite. Everyone loved him, and God, he's just still going, huh? He's just still like, I'm not hating at all, but he's had some controversy, and he's still here just doing this music video. He's out singing in the woods on social media, like yelling to the trees and shit. And I don't know, man. Good for him. I love Jeff. And yeah, him and Matt Hardy are politicking for an NXT run in a Hall of Fame induction and shit, just like I kind of predicted a while back. So what do y'all think about that?
I'll let Evil Dose go first.
I mean, they should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to take that away from them. I'm not interested in seeing them wrestle any longer. I think that they're both sort of brain-addled, and I don't trust Jeff's sobriety, and frankly, I don't trust Matt's either. And honestly, what I'm beginning to believe more certainly, which started as a troll, is I don't think they're rich. I don't think they spent their money well. I think they're leveraged to the hilt, and I don't think they can quit. I don't think it's just a mental addiction with them. I think they need the money. Having kangaroos and giraffes and shit isn't cheap. Plus all that property. So I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like, like what you were describing with Rich Swann last night. I mean, obviously he's doing things in fast forward, but I feel like the Hardys, or at least one of them, where we're looking at like serious accidents, and I sort of feel like we're all enablers in slow motion.
Jeff Hardy is like the Mark Wahlberg character in Rockstar. Man, that movie fucking rules. Rockstar rules, dude.
Yeah, they'll go into the Hall of Fame.
Like a frugal spender. Yeah, they'll go in the Hall of Fame 100%.
But I think you already can tell Triple H wants nothing to do with him in terms of wrestling. It's where do you put him? Where do you trust them? Do you worry that they might injure somebody because Matt's sort of really been held together with spit duct tape and Jack Daniels, and as we've pointed out, Jeff Hardy has alcohol issues, which he might decide to disappear because it's Tuesday. So, look, I think they'll be brought back for the Hall of Fame. They'll get a nice send-off in the Hall of Fame, and maybe you bring him in as like a coach. But if you're WWE, you stay far away from him wrestling-wise. It's not worth it. It is a bad investment.
Okay. We'll see. Team America against Team TNA here.
Are we doing predictions on the Iron Man match? I don't know anything about this story. I don't know who the good guy is, who the bad guy is.
Did we not do predictions on? I think we completely didn't do that.
All right, so it's basically Nick Nemeth, formerly Dolph Ziggler, versus a now reinvigorated Josh Alexander, who he's found his heel. I mean, he is basically what in some ways Drew McIntyre is, the heel who is technically right. We're wrong. Hey, we now go for the Joe Hendry's, the Nick Nemeth celebrity. And he's been the heart and soul of TNA. I like it. I mean, everybody said Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander was not a talker. He's turned heel and he's become pretty damn good.
I'm starting a poll in the chat, and I'm going to ask you guys, who inducts the Hardys into the WWE Hall of Fame? Is it Lita? Is it Michael Hayes? Is it the Dudleys and Edge and Christian? Like a double? Like these are our boys? Or is it who has deep ties with the Hardys? Let's think.
North Carolina people, Crockett, I don't know, but I mean, it's not going to be Edge and Christian because they're both enemies right now. So, I think it's going to be the Dudleys.
We'll go Dudleys, or we'll go Edge and Christian. Those will just be different ones. Start poll, everyone vote. on that in the chat.
I mean, it's at this point, it's probably the Dudleys because they're on good terms with WWE. They're not signed with anybody, and it just that's something they can tie in as hey, teams WWE history in one introduces the other. I would say Michael Hayes will also be involved in some ways, but yeah, it's Edge and Christian. Anybody who's with AEW right now, they are not getting anywhere near the WWE Hall of Fame. It's just
not even Billy Gunn.
That relationship is too toxic. No.
Savage Wrestling Podcast Productions member for 2 months. Round of applause. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Lita, he says Lita. Dudley's, Terry Runnels. No, not Terry, dude. Good old JR makes his return to WWE. Hurricane could, yeah, they're boys.
Yeah.
Good old JR comes back and inducts them. Yeah, that could work too. But
Hurricane's a good call.
Hurricane, yeah, that's a really good call, hey?
But I still think the Dudleys, because we know that they can talk and give a speech, and
yeah,
they also
it's a big name. They like to associate big names with big names if they can.
Yeah, Lita giving a speech doesn't sound like a great idea.
Lita, that'd be so fucked, man. That'd be so funny. I want to see like a Hardy Boys and Lita reunion one time though, like on NXT.
That's what backstage recorded segments are for.
Yeah, I just want to see like them hug it out, or just like them square off with like Chase U, or like the Lorenzo family or whatever.
God, no.
Because there's all these factions of guys and girls. Like,
I don't care.
You don't want to see them just go face to face. I
don't.
Moment. Like,
I do not. No,
there's one circumstance where I would want to see Matt Hardy do it. I want him to play the Steve Buscemi character where he pretended to be a high school student and Chase U.
See, dude, that shit could be funny. Like the Hardys crossing paths with like Metaphor. Maybe not Lita necessarily, but I just want to see them like hug it out and do all like just squash all that shit and do it all like in a way where we're all like, oh, for the fans, fucking do it, man. Just do it. Hug it out. Because that was such a good like tandem, she added so much to them. You could say that they've never been the same ever since they were split up and then she banged Edge. You know what I mean?
Well, they weren't, but she was.
Yeah, she blew up and was a huge star. She was in like all the main event programs and shit. Oh, man, that's funny.
That's side boob and wrestling.
But Jeff Hardy was a star. I mean, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They all respectively. Like, I would argue that Matt Hardy could go in and Jeff just as solos. Like they could go in themselves, like individually,
but why?
As well, on top of a tag. Because Matt Hardy, he did win a handful of titles, but he was also the ECW World Champion, right?
I know they can. I'm just saying, why? Why would you do that?
Because they just need names. Like there's going to be one day where it's like, yeah, let's get the Hardys. Let's give them.
It's not.
I'm not saying put them in as individuals, but put them in as a tag, and then. Like years later, you put them in as individuals.
You're never going to run out of people. But listen, Jeff Hardy walked out during a live match, and Matt Hardy spent 3.5 years saying as much bad shit as he could and trying to politic his way into a job. Now, they need to pay. They need to pay for a while. And they can go in as a team themselves, but they need to wait a couple of years, 2-3 years to do it, pay the price. You're never going to run out of people to
pay the price.
You're never going to run out of people to put into the Hall of Fame. You look at the people who are on the cusp of retiring now. You got AJ Styles, you got John Cena. Batista's not in there yet.
Oh, Batista wants it too. I think he said in a recent interview that he wants to.
Right. Who hasn't said anything bad about them, and they'll be retiring probably pretty soon? Dustin. If you want to do an olive branch. Dustin is you're never going to run out of people, and all the posthumous people, there's people dying left and right that haven't been put into the Hall of Fame. So get their families on there, let them make some money off things.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Plus Triple H has to put himself in 4 more times.
Yeah, exactly. What do you guys think of
but I mean,
go ahead
I'm watching this. I want to ask you, Eve, about Mike Santana, because you were mentioning earlier, but you've had him on the show. You've talked to him. He has a cool factor. Like, he's a guy that, when you watch him, it's like, okay, he's real, he's authentic. How much does that hurt wrestling in a lot of ways that, some of these guys, either they're not cool. I mean, you look at him, it's like, oh my God, these guys are sort of like, I wouldn't want to hang out with them in the real world. They're sort of just nerdy. I mean, with Mike, how much does it help when you talk to him? But he is real. He is authentic. He is a guy who sort of understands how to talk to regular people.
Yes, Sid should go in the Hall of Fame too. This guy in the chat, why the fuck would Lita induct him? LOL, because it's funny, bro. That's why. Scully Vibes for $5. Salute Dose and Chris popping in to show some love to PWT. Yeah. I'm catching up on TNA tomorrow. Hit the like, spread the vibes. Yeah, Vibes. You better be there tomorrow for Bash in Berlin, boy. We're coming for you. Okay? You better be there. You better be coming for me. Because
I might be back again tomorrow from invited. You never know.
Yes, Bash in Berlin's going to be lit, and it goes down in the morning time. So let's make sure you're tapped in. And thanks for just checking in. And I hope you're having a great Friday evening. Everybody, send some love to Scully Vibes. Extraordinary.
But to answer Chris's question, I think it helps a lot when somebody has the cool factor in there. I think there's a room for geeks and gamers, but I mean, Adam Cole, he's a little guy. Rusev, nah.
Sorry, what was that?
I think it's got to fit you. You can't have too many of these guys that are geeks. You can't have too many people being Xavier Woods and Adam Cole. Like when you have like Miro, being a gamer, it's like, come on, dude, you're 285 pounds. You're supposed to be a bruiser. Just
and do you think that's what hurt your guy, Aaron Rex, Aaron Idol, pardon me, Sandow? Do you think that's what hurt him? Because I always looked at him as like his gimmick was good, but he has the size. He looks like a guy that, I don't know. I'm surprised WWE ever really let go of him. But do you think that hurt him a little bit? Like, oh, he's like the nerdy, goofy kind of guy when really he can be more than that if you give him the chance,
No, I don't know what happened, but he's retired from in-ring competition. He's more of a manager and booker kind of guy. He could have done like the Lanny Poffo or the Shane Douglas Dean genius, actor. He really did study Shakespearean theater. So I think that maybe his heart just really wasn't in it. I think doing the back office work and talking is enough. I think that makes him happy. So I think his act with The Miz was fun, but I don't know. It was Vince. He had his own set of rules that if you were big and strong and scary, that worked. Everything else, if he didn't think you were funny, you weren't funny. So and if he thought you were funny, even if you weren't, you had a job for life. So I don't know. I that was a different time, but I don't think it was his geekdom. I think that maybe it's just. Maybe he let it be known he wanted to be an agent or a producer or a writer and wasn't so keen on being a wrestler. Maybe they're like, yeah, we're all set there.
Now, Dose, I know that you got to get out of my hair and you have a life to live. And but before you go, dude, can I get your thoughts on this? Can I steal you for 5 more minutes, brother? Like this Netflix documentary series, Mr. McMahon. A lot of us never thought it would see the light of day. Mr. McMahon, a documentary series chronicling the rise and fall of WWE's controversial founder, is coming to Netflix on September 25th from Chris Smith, executive producer of Tiger King, and Bill Simmons. Guys, I'm going to EFAP every episode with you guys on Patreon 100%, including interviews with McMahon prior to his resignation, his family, and some of the most iconic names in wrestling history, as well as the journalists who uncovered McMahon's allegations. So they have interviews with McMahon prior to his resignation, his family members. He was open to this. Apparently, they didn't talk to anyone involved with Janelle Grant, but like as far as like her or her attorneys or anybody involved in all of that, but also that's like an ongoing legal thing. So what could they really say? Like shit would be held against them in court or whatever, like I just think that's more, I'm not defending them in any way. I'm just saying I think that more is the reason why they didn't reach out or talk to any of them, because what are they going to say? It could all be used in court. So I don't know. That's all I'll say about that. And yeah, this, I am so fucking excited for this. I think this is going to be like the next Tiger King. I think this is going to sweep fucking all the news, all the headlines, help WWE as well before they come into Netflix. Believe it or not, they say any press is bad press, Dose and Chris Connor, and whether you believe in that or not, I don't know. I think the timing is uncanny, and fuck, man, I'm excited for this. Before you get out of here, and it's from the guy who made fucking Tiger King, who executive produced it, so that's all I'm saying. Dose, before you go, what are your thoughts on this, and what are you looking for in this? Just, I don't know, give us something about this, you know?
Well, by the way, there's a show on Max from the Tiger King people called Chimp Crazy right now. It's only 2 episodes so far. It's not as good as Tiger King, but it's, if you like, it's interesting. What do I think? I think the timing is interesting because obviously they decide to air it before they would know what the ending is. So I think they made the calculated decision that there might be publicity that might be really, really bad, and they want this out while it's still interesting, but most of the world is sleeping on it and just thinks it's another, rich guy, Bill O'Reilly kind of thing. I know that half of the IWC thinks it's a Harvey Weinstein thing, and they might be right. I don't know. But I think the outside world is not particularly invested in this or cares about this, not because of the issues. It's just, it's wrestling, So I think that the current allegations and the resignation, that's sort of going to be an undercurrent, and they'll probably do interviews with the reporters at the end. I agree with what you said about why would you talk to the legal teams. There's also a question about the stay order, whether there's a gag order or not, and whether litigating on TV during a stay is a great idea. And so, but I think the timing is calculated. They've been working on this thing for years. I think they've been deciding whether to pull it or not. There was going to be a movie. Now it's a docuseries. So, but I think the people who, if you're expecting a real expose, you're probably going to be disappointed. I think it's going to be probably 70 to 80% fluff piece and 20%, of hitting stuff.
Man, I think that it definitely, I'm so happy that it's a series and not just a movie. And I think that the reason they're doing it now, I agree with your assessment, but I also think there's a bit of, it's like making a murderer, right? It's like, well, if that whole thing's open-ended, then there's almost like a part 2, a season 2 to this, or like a follow-up hour-and-a-half long documentary. Like, look at that one, that fucking Dan Schneider documentary or whatever about the Nickelodeon kids. And then like 2 weeks later, they dropped like a review hour-long sit-down interview with a couple of the people, like they'll just pull the trigger on things like that. So I think there's a bit of that too. Like, well, we could get a season 2 out of this also.
You could have season 2 and 3. You could have the
like maybe he goes to jail, maybe he doesn't. If he goes to jail, maybe they fucking cover the whole case, and that's the whole season 2 is just focused on the Janelle Grant. Who fucking knows? But I'm so excited for this.
Maybe he flees to Venezuela, Suriname, or St. Petersburg.
Yeah. But Dose, thanks for hanging out with us. And Chris, I want to get. Chris, give me your thoughts on it. Dose, can you stick around for a minute while Chris gives his thoughts?
Yeah, I want to hear.
Awesome, Chris. What's up, man? What do you think about it?
I think it's going to be a letdown. My worry is
no,
because I'll tell you why. We saw with Swamp Kings. Everybody was all excited. Oh, we're going to talk about all the dirty stuff, and then we found out. No, that Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow and their people had a lot to say about what was going to be talked about, what was going to happen. When I heard that, when I first heard it, it's like, okay, it's going to be fun. Then when you hear about McMahon gave a lot of interviews, it's a lot about that. For them to sign off, they had to have like some creative control. Like, all right, there's going to be certain topics they won't bring up. There's going to be certain things they will not address. I think it'll be fun. But I think it's going to be a bit of a letdown from what people are expecting. This is not going to be one of those tell-all, we're going to expose all the secrets. Remember, Netflix is also in business now with WWE. They're not going to bite the hand that feeds it. This is going to be a one-time deal. It's going to, basically sort of push Vince out there, get all the sort of PG stuff out that's bad, and then they're going to just erase him from the existence because they spent $5 billion for WWE. You don't piss off the Golden Goose.
Man, you might actually be right about that, Chris. Although I think he's like a canceled guy and he's not even allowed at WWE and shit. And I think that maybe they might just be like, fuck it, just spill it, get the heat off of us, and let WWE move forward without this crazy man. But who knows? Dose, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, man. I really appreciate that. Hey, if you're welcome to pop in during Bash in Berlin, you're lucky to pop, or you're lucky to, you're welcome to pop, you are lucky to as well, but you're welcome to pop in during No Mercy as well, the NXT No Mercy as well on Sunday if you'd like. I'll send you links or whatever, but I appreciate you so much. Round of applause for Evil Dose, and let the good folks know where they can follow you and find you.
Well, like I said, wherever all your fine podcasts are found, Garden of Doom, it's the only one. Subscribe to that. You get all 3 of the Garden shows. I think that you're gonna listen if you like Joe Rogan's show, if you like to dabble in going down YouTube rabbit holes, but you want something that doesn't insult your intelligence but also exposes you to a bunch of things. For instance, Garden Views this week, I had an astrobiologist on, and we talked about all sorts of stuff like, what about little green men and why are there 5 different animals that evolved into crabs on Earth?
And the moon landing being fake.
No, he's an astrobiologist. We didn't talk, but I have talked about that with other people, including
there you go.
So
you got to have me on one of these. I got to come do one of these with you.
Well, we got to pick a topic, so sure.
All right, man. Tartaria. Let's do it.
Listen, I've done Tartaria 2 different ways, so if you've got something new on Tartaria, absolutely. Anyway,
all right, well, we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. Probably tomorrow. Garden of Doom is where you can find me. If you want to follow me on X, my regular account is at IcarusFellMD. If you want my misbehaving wrestling account, it's Evil Dose at Garden of Doom. So easy enough to find me, or you can find me on Phil's show, once a week, once every 10 days.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you so much, bruv. Thank you for being here. Everybody, send Dose your love. Give him a follow. And, we'll talk tomorrow, buddy. I'll see you.
Cool. Nice meeting you, Chris.
Pleasure meeting you, Evil.
God bless. Yeah, you got to have Dose over on your show sometime, too, there, Chris Connors, for sure. And in chat, Savage Wrestling Podcast Productions for $2 says, I'm going to watch the Mr. McMahon Netflix series too. Hell yeah. Acknowledge me. And sorry for the wait. I had to get fucking Dose out of there, but I needed his thoughts on this. Savage. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna watch it all with you guys on screen on fucking Patreon. I'll cut it off a little bit. It'll be okay. But I'm gonna start doing more stuff like that. And any of my clips that get banned, like Dawn Stevens almost pulled my whole goddamn stream down from the other day because I was laughing at her stuff.
Well, here
I was laughing at her dancing during commercial break. And shit.
So you have breaking news here. First, we have the system has beaten Team Hardy's and Moose, and Hardy's, Hendry, and Santana running the Boston Knee Party from Eddie Edwards onto Matt Hardy. So you're wrong about that.
Yep, I was like, for life in this.
And Pro Wrestling Illustrated is reporting that Alicia Edwards suffered concussion during the match. She was knocked out on the ramp. That's why the match had to be changed and everything. So,
unfortunately,
that's a bit scary sometimes when you have that, and all of a sudden it's just when they do flips, when they do all these moves, there's always that risk of somebody just shoots too far. Somebody a leg lands on somebody's head. Somebody gets their head banged against the concrete, and this is unfortunately what happens.
I challenged Dave Meltzer to a hardcore match.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
He'd book it immediately. Yeah, Chris wants me to get in the squared circle with Dave, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. You know what I mean? Thank you so much for the super chat there. I would love to see you, LC Killer, in a hardcore match with Dave Schmelzy as well. Okay, so I'm a bit behind you, but it's like Moose is yelling in the camera, I'm coming to take back what's mine. So, let's see if he ever does that.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go after this, because so far you only had two titles defended on this show. You had the X Division title, and you've had the tag team title. So this is gonna, and right now we've had new champion in one. We've had the babyface retain that, although we're not sure what would have happened had it been Swan and AJ Francis. So yeah, so where are you going with Nick Nemeth versus Josh Alexander now?
It's an hour long, so buckle in, folks. This is going to be pretty crazy. Where am I going? I'm having God, I'm just such a mark, so I'm not the right guy to ask, but I'd have fucking Alexander win this thing off Nemeth, and even though that seems too early too, because Bailey lost his belt, Nemeth will probably retain, but I would have Alexander and Ethan Page with the NXT and the fucking TNA titles and just being assholes on both shows and doing like a power trip thing, and that's what I would start booking. I don't know, that's me, but maybe that's a bad idea. What say you?
In theory, it sounds great, but if you're WWE, do you want to keep, NXT is basically for their kids. It's great when Joe Hendry's there because they have their eyes on Hendry, and he's somebody I think they want to sign long term. The risk you run when you bring in all more TNA guys, like, all right, you're starting to take away time from, with Trick Williams, from, the Obafemis, from Lash Legend, which those are the big stars. Those are their guys. I think Josh Alexander is going to be kept away from, as of now, NXT. I think Nick Nemeth is the guy they want to sell because that's something they can vend. If they keep talking, they want a new TV deal, but they want to eventually get more money because there's only so much they're going to get with Anthem. Anthem's access is only available on, I think, like 90 million homes instead of, the usual 100, 200 other channels have. Look, Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler, is a guy who most people know. So keeping him as champion, I think they're going to do that until they can either feel comfortable with putting Joe Hendry as champion or it's somebody else they can get, maybe whether it's an AJ Styles match or something that's big enough for them to go, well, we can sell more pay-per-views.
Yeah. PCO had a digital media title defense on the pre-show. Yeah, he did. Yeah, this is going to be an hour fucking long Iron Man match. We're going to call this. We're also going to pull up some other bookmarks. Here, let's run through some WWE news. So MGK responds to Randy Orton after he's talking shit. Chris, do you think MGK and Orton are working, or do you think it's like they actually have heat?
No, I think this is just MJ Machine Gun Kelly just being a dick. Because if it's a work, what does it go to? They're not going to have MJK versus Randy Orton. That's a nothing burger of a match. That's not something that you can sell because.
Yeah, and he's calling out Strickland as well and shit. So it's like I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's, I don't think he's working here. I think he's really just being a dick. It must be a full moon or something. I keep agreeing.
This is what happens.
Yeah, I told you
get
guys.
The business with YouTubers. They think they. What's the YouTubers? I mean, remember iShowSpeed, and then you have KSI getting involved, and then you have. I mean, look, Logan Paul is the outlier. He's a guy who can actually pull this off, looks the part, and is serious about wrestling. Is he a dick? Yeah, but it is what he is. The rest of these guys, it's clout chasing. So if you're Orton, there's nothing much you can do. You just are all right. I'm not gonna acknowledge it too much. I'm gonna let go away like these fads and just that's it.
So Randy Orton calls him Pinocchio. MGK says cameras were rolling. Tell WWE to put that out. And then fucking Randy Orton goes, he goes, you have my number and why you have it, by the way, but I won't even put you on blast for that. Check your texts. Right? So then I got a follow-up from Austin Creed, Xavier Woods. He goes, if I know one thing about Randy Orton, if someone was to actually curse him to his face, then that person would no longer have the ability to tell that story. For sure. Wrestling news. Zilla Fatu says that Booker T is like a pops I never had. He made sure I was good, made sure my mom was good, made sure my brothers were good. So, shout out Booker T, man.
This is great.
And shout out fucking Zilla. I like how they're doing the little tail of the tape thing with TNA. Here we go. But yeah, shout out to Zilla Fatu as well. I can't wait till he shows up in WWE as like more of a main dude when he's done in reality of wrestling. In miscellaneous news, I have this low-key video. We'll talk about this another time. We'll EFAP it where he just talks a bunch of shit, and I just think it's funny. But Nikki Bella and her husband, I don't want to spend like a lot of time on this fucking weird and shitty, but like, I don't know, her new husband got, or like, I don't know, her and John Cena weren't really married or engaged or whatever, I guess, but her husband, like, you know, DV, I don't know what YouTube likes. There was a domestic thing and dispute, and there was like abuse that happened, I guess. And according to county records, he was released at 2 p.m. Okay, so let's see. We now know how the alarm was sounded when someone at Artem, I can't even say his name, home called 911. Sources connected to the investigation tell TMZ a call came in around 8:30 a.m. reporting a medical emergency at the home. It's unclear who made the call. Paramedics and the fire department were en route. Someone from the house called 911 again to say cancel the request. They did not say why, but we were told paramedics and fire returned to their stations, never showing up at the house. At 10 a.m., Artem was arrested for felony corporal injury to spouse or cohabitant. In order to make the arrest for felony, the injury must be visible. So, I mean...
You what?
What a fucking piece of shit. So either a kid or her was hurt. And like, hopefully... Well, we don't know. Like, maybe she's attacking him, but I mean, are we going to play that game? I don't even want to dive into this deep, guys, but yeah, I just hope Nikki Bella's okay. That's craziness, and it's unfortunate, you know, and they live in wine country, and I know, you know, Nikki Bella likes her wine, and maybe they're a couple of winos. Who knows? I'm just giving takes here, guys. I'm giving hot takes because it's what I got to do, right? So, not trying to be an ass. I hope everyone's okay. And if it's a kid involved, that just makes me sick. But I don't think it's that. It sounds like they're just trying to, like, Nikki really doesn't want to get whatever happened out there. And I'm not saying because she's guilty of shit, but she's obviously protecting dude, or they're trying to protect their family. So I'm going to respect it, and I'll get Chris Connor's take on it all, but I'll move along from talking about it. Chris Connor's your sort of take on all of this, if you have one.
Just sad what's going on. It's never fun. We have no idea what's going on, so I don't want to say anything. I mean, we've heard that, but he called 911 because she threw her shoes at him, but they've not identified who the victim is. It's been a crappy year for the family. I mean, if a mother got sick, her father-in-law, her father-in-law is basically, it's her stepfather, I guess, Laurinaitis, is being sued. I mean, this has not been a great year for the Bella family, so kind of sucks. I mean, it makes you realize, oh yeah, even wrestlers have crappy lives at times.
Yep. So we have, like, they're introducing the title. Sorry, Chris, go ahead. Just Alexander and Nemeth are squaring off.
I was going to say, it's interesting what Doe said about how with Drew McIntyre, he leaned into more just him, became him. And I think that's what we've seen with Josh Alexander a bit here. It's a heel turn, but, when he talks, he's becoming more, I guess, him. It's like, hey, you fans, I've been the guy who's carried the company. I've been the guy who's been Mr. TNA. And there's the best angles are always when there's truth and reality. There's probably for him like, hey, look, everybody loves Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, great. He's the flash in the pan. Everybody loves Nick Nemeth. He just came here, and yet all I've done is wrestle everybody, put the company on my back at times.
And he's on a per appearance deal. Did you know that he initially signed for 10, and then he keeps extending it? So and then they slapped the world title on him. So that's amazing. That says a lot about TNA.
Well, it's a fun locker room, and there's no politics, no drama. There's no wrestler who is in charge of creative. It's the opposite of AEW. It's run as a professional wrestling organization, unlike AEW, which is basically a rich kid playing wrestling promoter.
Speaking of AEW, it's time for AEW news, folks. At But Alyssa says AEW Grand Slam Australia ticket prices. So for a VIP All Elite, that is, Chris Connor, going to run you $1,200. For a VIP Dynamite, that's $1,000. For VIP Ringside, that's $650. For Premium Fan, it's $500. A Reserve, $315. $264, $193, $122 and a quarter and a little bit, $95. So, I mean, no prices for an AEW show right now should be more than fucking $95. Maybe a little over 100 with the tax. What say you, Chris? Is that just outrageous?
Who's going to go to these events? I mean, if you're
WWE fucking price themselves out, everyone wants to say. AEW, like, what do they think's going to happen here?
Once again, it's a guy who has no idea what he's doing, trying to go to a market, and it's going to be ugly. This is going to be another ugly sort of friggin', show where nobody shows up.
Sorry, I had to hit the Meltzer there. Oh man, do you think they even do 50K at this Australia show?
No, it takes a lot to do 50K. People think, it's. No, it's. I think it's going to do. I would be surprised if it does even 20,000.
Bad. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Mercedes Moné has responded to the mixed reactions to her AEW All-In match with Britt Baker. I've heard a lot of mixed reactions to my All-In match with Beretta. I had a really good time out there with her. I did sense some audience fatigue. It's only natural being third to last, as the crowd had already seen over 10 matches before ours. Is there anything I would have done differently? There is. Honestly, a lot. But I don't ever want to go too deep into what ifs about my matches or life for that matter. I'll just say that what I learned a lot from the match and can only grow by continuing to try new things. I don't know, man. It was sloppy and you had to carry Britt. Just fucking admit it. But at least you didn't just bury Britt. Some people think there's real heat there. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. Maybe Britt had.
Were we expecting a great match from these two? You have Britt Baker, who hasn't wrestled in a long time.
I kind of thought it would be good. Yeah, I thought it would be good, but they apparently not.
But Mercedes is, once again, she's a small. I mean, she's about the size of Alicia Edwards. So when she tries to lift people, and this credit to Kevin Apollo for bringing this up, she doesn't do a good job. So she's taking on a bigger woman who hasn't wrestled. It's not like they've worked several programs. I mean, this is what happens when you are in a new company. You haven't wrestled or worked with a lot of these people. You're working on a very limited, amount of matches. And then it's like, this match was terrible. No crap. I mean, people forget when she was in WWE, she had wrestled these people like 20, 30 times. So at the end, they knew how to work with each other in their sleep. And now this is what we're getting now when you get somebody who is overpaid, doesn't wrestle a lot, and has worked with people who she's never worked with.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm watching the Emergence, and this is
me too. I'm locked on. Yeah.
You saw the MJF versus Ospreay match, and that was just match, move. Everybody was just, throwing haymakers right off the bat. You see here, there's more psychology. Like, all right, it's a slow tempo. This is grappling. Josh Alexander is a walking weapon, a wrestling machine. Dolph Ziggler is the guy who was a former NCAA wrestler. So you're seeing, like, this is how Iron matches should be. Like, this is not, you don't just come out there to throw all these balls to the walls moves, and then around 30 minutes, both guys are gassed. Like, there is pacing, and I like it so far.
Yeah, dude, it's Sean versus Brett. Legit, man, in a way, because you got Dolph who, like, comes in and the people love him, and he's, like, doing his whole gimmick, his old shtick, which is sort of like a modern HBK, and he gets the title, all that shit, and you have Josh who's like, man, I've been here in the trenches for you motherfuckers, and I'm not over in NXT. I'm not one of these ex-WWE fucking guys, like, you got, like, I'm taking my shit back. Like, so I don't know. And that was sort of like Brett, how, like, he was the bat. People started booing him, like, in that Attitude Era. And it was because he was like playing heel, but he was right though, and Josh is sort of right too. Like, okay, Hendry, you're just going to fucking NXT, and, like, where's my chance? I carried this whole fucking place on my shoulders forever. So I don't know. I like it. I like the dynamic between these two. These guys both know how to work. They're professional as shit. They both can do amateur style, pro style. I love it too. I'm really into this. What I'm not into is Aubrey Edwards, chat. I quote tweeted this and I was like, the refs suck so bad. They need to have a fucking seminar or something. And a bunch of people got mad at me, tried to defend this. So look over this. Okay. Review this with me, folks. There's a rear naked choke. Roddy's foot goes on the bottom rope. The spot is the ref is looking at the choke and doesn't see the foot on the rope and calls the tap out. Right? Standard. We've seen shit like this a million times. Watch what Aubrey Edwards does.
He's got his foot under the rope and taps up.
Fucking steps, instead of just standing up and calling it from where she is and signaling. That's why refs have hand signals, right? So instead of just, like, signaling from where she is to the timekeeper, pardon me, she literally steps over the guy's leg so that she can get on camera. I know that's what this is, but she steps over the dude's leg that she's not supposed to see, because if she's aware of that, then it's actually not a fall and it's a rope break and whatever, right? You guys understand this. We've been watching this. We understood this when we were kids, how this spot's supposed to work. Look at what she does now. And they're going to Don Stevens me for this. Boo fucking who. I'll scrub it. She steps right over the leg that she's not supposed to see. So she sees it peripherally. And I just can't fucking... You guys, are we, like...
The best guy is Tony Khan.
It's insane. I don't know if you guys are hearing those prices wrongs, but yeah, I just had to bring another Aubrey one to the fucking... I'm going to save that one for later. So at the last Dynamite, Colt Cabana and Satnam Singh get in the ring, and we've seen it all now. We've seen Taco Bell commercials during fucking Jack Perry vignettes. We've seen fucking the lights go out, literally. We've seen everything here. Colt Cabana gets in the ring and a fucking fire alarm starts going off. And not because the match was fuego, but because, I don't know. People wanted to go the fuck home. I'm so sorry for the noise. Everyone check your ears.
Fire alarm!
I don't know. Jesus, man. Has that ever happened? I know WWE's lit the roof on fire before, but, like, just a fucking fire alarm? That shit hurt my ears, too. Kevin Kelly claims AEW gave him a severance package, but took it back because he didn't sign some form. Do you know what that form was?
You fucking mark!
A lifetime NDA? I guarantee it. It was some sort of NDA. And he was like, no, I'm not signing this weird shit. So they took their severance package back.
What? The best guy is Tony Khan.
Bro. Insane, man. No health care. The women don't get to pay the same as the men unless you're fucking Mercedes Moné. All these broken promises, dude. And look at this shit. Kevin Kelly. They took the poor man's severance package back. And he's taking them to court. And Dose is right. A bunch of shit's going to come out about ROH and AEW in this whole court case thing that goes down eventually. And yeah, they took the severance package back. Like, that is pretty fucking sick. I'm not going to lie. Chris Connor, what do you make of that?
It's as I said, this is a company that's not professional, that is run by a rich kid who this is his vanity project. So are we surprised? I mean, I'll tell you, I mean, it's AEW doing AEW things. At this point, I'd go, this is going to be just more of the same as it goes forward.
It's just, somebody said, he's morphed into Vince, George Capture. Yeah, man, he's Vince. He's Tony McMahon. That's what he is now. And I don't know. That's pretty fucked up if that's true. I'm sure it is. Post is pretty good with their news. No. Yeah, I don't know. Shout out Kevin Kelly.
We have our first fall. Nick Nemeth
we had our first fall about
nothing.
Like 12 minutes in. Fucking Nemeth got a pin. So, and it was kind of like a roll up. It wasn't like a finisher or anything. So, match continues. Still slowly paced, hooking everyone in for the big finale. So Dave Meltzer, we'll play a fucking flute. Let's do it. Might as well. This isn't even the full-on segment, but we'll give him one here because it is. So Dave Meltzer via Wrestling Observer News Radio says that AEW merch sales were huge in Europe. Noting that dollars per head for merchandise were even higher compared to last year's Wembley show. The merch sales were actually they were, huge for both Cardiff and Wembley. Easily, obviously, the second biggest merch night in the history of the company in Wembley. They actually did as far as dollars per head in merch. They were way up at Wembley. Yeah, because they have fucking more people at this show than any other one, and I'm not diminishing that. But here's what the merch was. You got an Osprey jersey, no wrestlers shit, no Danielson fucking. There's nothing here that goes Danielson retirement. Nothing like that. All AEW shit, and then just fucking Osprey. And it's like, okay, so you sold 8 billion fucking programs or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to knock it, but damn, man, get your super. We looked at it on the All In stream. So you guys know, go back, watch the All In stream that Don Stevens tried to fucking tear down. And we had people, there's video of the merch stand and stuff. So not to knock it, but I'm curious. And I have people where I'm like, yo, at WWE, I want to see the merch. At MLW, I want to see the merch. At everywhere, I want to see the merch. Because I don't know, a little experiment I'm conducting, I guess. But yeah, these guys, and I know people go, well, they have their deals through Pro Wrestle Tees, but like, how's that good for the company? How's that even good for like the stars in the company, that are associated with AEW? That's the problem. Like, everyone, like, they just want people to believe in the 3 letters. Like, when ECW started falling off, it's not like the crowds were as hot as they were like in the heyday as well either. Like, and it's just not, I don't know. I don't look at it as ECW. Like, it was that at the beginning, but now it's just become like, it's not fan service, man. It's Tony service. And you got to serve fans in 2024, dog. Beating a dead horse with that one. But, yeah, wrestlers own their own licensing. Someone said in the chat. Yeah. But the thing is like, AEW, they can still work. Like, okay, AJ Styles owns AJ Styles, but WWE still makes AJ Styles shirts and merch. Okay, so that's all you do with all the wrestlers. You work out a fucking licensing deal and you make all their merch. How the fuck are you in Wembley and Sting did a run out, or Darby's in a coffin match and there isn't fucking little Sting masks everywhere, where there's not like Darby Allin masks or some shit being sold. Like, how is there no MJF scarves? I say it all the time. Like, where's the gimmicks? You don't have a fucking Tony Storm gimmick? Her whole character's a fucking WWE gimmick, you know? It's like you don't have no merch for that. Like, there's nothing. Come on, you know? There's got to be, and like, oh, they run it all through Pro Wrestle Tees themselves. Yeah, but you guys are leaving money on the table. And I know it's like, oh, it's better for the wrestlers, but no, because it's not like their own. And yes, they do make AEW licensed shirts. They're all shit. They all look like 3D. I mean, pardon me, AI mock-up fucking. It's like Okada in front of a car, Nick Wayne's mom in front of a car. You know, it's like a big, black, and jacked. It's like they're asking Chat GPT for fucking shirt slogans, dude. Like, that's how it literally feels. Like they're making AI pictures into t-shirt designs, and I don't know. I could bury it all day, but they're just, it's a missed opportunity for everyone involved, man. Like even TNA, when Nick Nemeth came in, they were like, here's the TNA Nick Nemeth t-shirt, and you were like, oh shit, that actually looks pretty fire, you know? And it's like, okay, and obviously he has his Pro Wrestle Tees, and obviously TNA, I'm sure they'd love to have all of their own. Like everyone wants the WWE licensing and all of that deal. Like everybody wants to be able to do what they do, and it's hard to do that. But Tony Khan can do that because he's just willing to waste his own money. So why not run smaller buildings and invest in doing that, and then start generating money, and then you can fucking really all the free agents. Then you don't have to accuse WWE of inflating shit. You can, I don't know. To me, it's just all ass backwards, and I rant about it all the time. Disappoints me, man. And like, look at the merch and shit WWE's pumping out for their superstars. It's fucking amazing. A lot of it is really good, man. It's quality. So yeah, they got to step that shit up big time. And yeah, good for them for doing great merch sales. I'm super happy, but it's the most people they've ever had in a building, Dave, next to the other All In. So Dave's going, oh, the two biggest sold shows sold the most merch. Well, no shit. Like, that's pretty much a given. Now, that doesn't mean that, oh, well, this show that had 50,000 did less than this show that had 30,000. Doesn't mean that can't happen. But and I guarantee if you go to all of WWE's biggest houses, their merch sales are the biggest too, because that's just a given. So, and like, not to make it about WWE, if you go to all of UFC's biggest fucking houses, I'm sure their merch sales align with those events as well. Do you know what I'm saying, Chris Connor? Does that make sense, or am I talking out my ass?
That makes perfect sense. But
yeah,
who's in charge right now of WWE, of AEW's merchandise? It's what?
It was the Young Bucks, one of the Young Bucks' wives, and then they handed it over to someone else, and it hasn't improved. Some people even say it's gotten worse. So who knows?
Who's in charge of WWE's merchandising? Somebody who I don't know off the top of my head, but it's not.
Yeah, some random no-name fucking with 30 followers on Twitter who's like an expert at fucking slinging merch. You know,
it's somebody who has a history of merchandising, sales. Somebody who knows the product. I mean, as I said, it's AEW is run like it's a rich boy's play toy, and he gets friends of his in certain jobs. He's not serious about hiring professionals. He's not serious about getting the right people for this. And WWE, they've made it a science for years. Like, their people know exactly what's going on, exactly how to sell stuff, and they have experience in this. Like,
right. Or how about this too? Like when Tony Khan, sorry, this just popped into my head, Chris. Tony Khan, like, everybody gets their own belt. Like, there's all these new belt designs, new belt. But what WWE does is they just keep their belt fucking normal. And then when like Roman's reign comes to an end, or Gunther goes on that crazy IC title, then they design a special title, give it to him, and then they fucking sell it to the fans and shit as like a commemorative. It's not like they're not collecting these fucking belts to be like, oh, I have all these different belts. It's not like everyone gets their own little participation trophy. That's how it feels, man. And it's just so like, but even the belts, like, you can't sell belts and they're not marketable when everyone on the show has a fucking belt, dude. Like, how are you going to sell 1 million different belts? Like, have fucking 5 different ones, and then people pick their favorite. Like, growing up, I was a big European champion, Mark. I don't know why. I just love the design of the belt and everything. Sorry, what were you saying?
All right, so here's the VP, head of consumer product development, global buying for WWE, which is they're in charge of home decor, toys, fashion accessories, seasonal merchandise, all of that. A woman's name is June Jack, and before she's been in WWE for 11 years. Before that, she worked for EB Brands, which is a toy company. Before that, she worked at the Christmas Place for a couple of years. Before that, she was working for Catalog Marketing Graphics. Before that, she worked for KB Toys. I mean, this is somebody who's had an experience. All right, how do I sell product? How do I market merchandise? How do I reach children and teens and people who buy stuff? Not somebody who, my wrestler husband is the VVP of a company, so hey, I'm going to be put in charge of merchandise. I have no experience, but hey.
Yeah, man. Why is he like that? So here is John Morrison landing on his fucking head, and I hope he's okay. This is on Ring of Honor.
Johnny Team. Oh my
You guys see that?
Johnny Team. Oh my goodness. Whoa.
That's crazy, man. You guys see that? Yikers. I hope he's okay. I like John Morrison.
Meanwhile, we have the Iron Man match where I don't think there's not been one like missile drop kick or one moonsault.
No, they barely have fought outside the ring too.
It's more brutal. It's more mat based. It's more wrestling, and these people are still into it. So I mean, we have 38 minutes left in the Iron Man. It'll start picking up, and both guys still look like, all right, we can go for another 20, 30 minutes and not be gassing after 10.
This is the shit legends are made of, man. And we covered it on the last show. TNA's pay-per-views since the crossover with NXT are up by like 114% in sales and shit like that. And hopefully this one follows suit, Emergence, I think, is sold out as well, if I'm not mistaken. And a nice, well-lit building. AEW, take notes. Speaking of AEW, Ricochet. He made his debut. He got took into the limit by Kyle Fletcher, which is, I guess, what people do now. That's like initiation in AEW. You got to get taken to the limit by Garcia or fucking Fletcher. And, he like barely scraped by a win after having a lackluster debut in that random gauntlet battle royal. And he comments on if it was a hard decision making the jump from WWE to AEW. And Ricochet says, it was definitely a big decision, but honestly, yes and no. Obviously, yes, it was hard because it's a place I've been for the last 6 years I've met. I got some really good connections, some friends, and some good memories there. I don't know what the fuck happened back there, but anyways. So it was definitely hard, but at the same time, no, it wasn't, because I'm a person who has always changed. And I just saw what AEW was doing. I saw the guys and girls over there and what they were doing, and it just seems so fun. You want to be a part of it. As hard of a decision as it was, I knew it was the right decision. So, like, I wonder what about it seems fun to him, like just the fact, and I'm not trying to shit on it, but I do understand it, like freedom, you get to do what you want, wrestle less, but you get to, when you do a match, you get to just do whatever the fuck you want, get a lot more money than WWE is probably going to give you. And like that's probably what it is, right? Like, no? Do you agree?
It's a little bit of that. Look, he was. You could tell from Ricochet that this was as best as he was going to go. I mean, he was not a guy they viewed as an Intercontinental Champion, as a World Champion. I think he looked at, and I'm not even sure if they wanted to re-sign him for big money. I think they looked and went, okay, this is your offer. This is what we're going to sign you for. He looked at AEW. Tony's offering huge money for anybody with WWE, so he jumped, and look, as our friend War Dog Apollo says, if you could take the idiot's money while you can, take the idiot's money while you can.
I ended the poll in the chat. 44% of y'all say the Dudleys. 41, sorry. 25 say Michael Hayes. 24 say Lita, Edge, and Christian. 8. That makes sense. So Ricochet continues along and goes, he explains why he left. And he says, honestly, the biggest reason is that I've been doing this for a long time, 21 years this year. And for me, the time when I was having the most fun in my career was when I was traveling the world with those crazy lunatics in the back there. It's literally the time when I was having the most fun. Despite that, what people may think, it's not always been bad for Ricochet. I've had fun my entire career, no matter where I went. I've always had fun. Okay, we get it. You want to have fucking fun, dude. You want to have fun with Tony Khan and the fun friends. So, okay, I get it now. It makes sense. He says that's not going to change. But when I was having the most fun was when I was hanging out with these guys and traveling the world with these guys. So obviously there's a bunch of wrestlers in AEW that are his friends from back in the day. And traveling the world with these guys and having matches with these guys and creating the art that I really like to make for, I feel like, the Ricochet fans out there who's been, I guess, just missing the opportunity to shine. But for me, it's to have fun again and to create that art again. So he just really wants to like go off, unleash, do the craziest shit he can possible, go viral for flip shit with Ospreay, who walked out and confronted him on the last Dynamite. And that's what he wants to do. And good on him. If he can get paid shitloads of money, it's not going to help AEW. It's not going to help in any way. It's not going to really, I don't know what it'll do for them. But it helps his bank account. And if you're a Ricochet fan who wants to see him do some Prince Puma shit again, yeah, maybe you'll get to see something along those lines. So good on him, I guess. But yeah, he just wants to go have fun. So I don't know. Girls just want to have fun. Oh, girls. You know what I mean?
Well, he's,
I don't know.
He's no. I mean, you have Carmelo Hayes, so you have a younger, a better talker than Ricochet now on the roster. So, look, he was redundant. I mean, he 5-10 years ago, he was a hot thing. Now we've seen everything that he can do. Yeah, he does. He's Mike Bailey. He's a lot like Mike Bailey for WWE. Where not a great talker, can work, and after a while, that gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, again, got to get managers, man. Like back in the day, dude, you'd see certain guys, they'd be with like 3-4 guys on an event, you know, just mouthing for them. Or maybe people think that's hokey. Who knows? Nick Nemeth is up 2 falls, by the way. He hit a zigzag or whatever he calls it now, and a knick-knack was the joke I made. Someone else made it on Twitter, though, and got way more likes than me and shit. But I said it first on the show.
It's funny how the last year we've seen more WB guys sort of avoid AEW. I mean, outside of it, we said it was Ricochet. Like Dolph Ziggler did not go to AEW. You had Mustafa Ali has not gone to AEW. You've seen even Dijak and AJ Francis avoid AEW because I think the word's out. Like if you go there, you might get buried because Tony gets bored. It's like, oh, new toy, woo! And then gets another new toy, and all of a sudden he loses interest.
Well, it is time for our sicko segment. And I really should save some of this shit for I have 2 more live streams to do this weekend, but I love you guys so much. We're going to do a couple of these, okay? I'm saving the fantastical tales of Tony Khan for tomorrow morning, okay? So get ready for that. So I got one for you guys, okay? Hold on. Yeah, I got 2 for you guys here. So this girl here works for bodyslam.net. Now, I'm not trying to shame nobody. I'm sorry. But, like, she works for bodyslam.net, bro. This is what I mean. I tell you guys this, like, there's, like, people, like, these activists get these writer jobs at all these no DQ and all these fucking places these days, dude. But she goes, ignore the ink on my hands. But this was me the entire day. A picture of her crying. I think I cried maybe 20 times this pay-per-view. I lost count. She's talking about All In, guys. She goes, this was the most amazing pay-per-view AEW has put out this year and the most emotional one yet in its 5-year history. I don't know about that, man.
with all the names injured or unable to attend. Mind you, they're all a part of this magic, this environment, this energy, this ethereal realm that is professional wrestling. Oh my God. It all came as one today. Debuts and returns, title changes galore. We now enter a new era as we approach year 6 of Elite Excellence. To Tony Khan, blah, 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 who helped start it all. From 2018 to today, AEW makes me realize that once again, I want to say this. I love All Elite Wrestling, and this will be my future job. And this will be my future job.
You what?
May my tears not be in vain. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. May my tears not be in vain as I woke up this morning to breathe once again, to witness something beautiful as this. We are all in on AEW. I know I am. Magic, thy name is All Elite Wrestling. You guys, I'm not trying to be a dick. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Bro, literally, this will be my job one day. And you write for bodyslam.net, so you can't go to their website and learn anything accurate about WWE or AEW ever again, because this lady here writes for them and goes and literally is begging Tony Khan for a job, saying she cried. I don't know if this is what they're looking for in an employee. It seems like you don't keep your emotions in check, but maybe Tony likes that. I'm just teasing, by the way. I'm trying to make light of this, but listen, Christ, this is some wacky shit, guys. And bodyslam.net, like, this is, if no DQ as well, Fightful, like, you just call it like it is, man. All these places, like, dude, if I had a fucking website, I would have a section that's like, here's just AEW. Here's the AEW diehard perspective. Here's the WWE diehard perspective. Here's a neutral guy who I deem neutral or something. You know, I'd figure out a way to do that, because you have to separate this shit. Like, what is she? I don't know what she does, but Melody or whatever, the lady Layton, whatever your name is, shout you out. But do you write story? Like, I don't know. If she's writing about AEW, how do you think she's writing about it? You know what I mean? Like, it's not from an objective eye. It's from someone who's trying to Will Washington themselves into a job. Just being honest. So, I don't know, man. That's pretty intense. And, yeah, part of the sicko moment of the week. I got another one. Well, Chris Connor, what do you make of this first off?
It's become a cult. I mean, this is the AEW fans who think, I mean, look, was it a good card? Yeah, it was a nice little card. It was full of some most crappy matches. The FTR versus the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed was sort of awful. Mercedes versus MJF was a train wreck. You had the whole garbage that was Jericho versus Hook for the title, which we were literally crapping on. Look, Mariah May, Toni Storm was pretty good. The main event was pretty good. I mean, it was long, it was tiring, and after a while, I was ready to check out, because I'm going, oh crap, this is just half these matches I don't care about. So, but that's
I don't know,
those
man.
are the AEW, not the AEW guys who everything is awesome. This is wonderful. This is the greatest thing ever, and
I'm happy she loves something this much, but I got a feeling it's not as much as she's playing it up to be. I doubt she cried 20 times. I doubt she honestly believes it was that magical of an event. Like, even fucking diehard sickos aren't saying it was that great, saying last year's was better and stuff. I don't know. I just, this is the only reason I brought it here is because it's bodyslam.net, or maybe if this was a sicko, I would have brought it to this segment. This is also a celebration segment, by the way, guys. The sicko segment isn't just to roast sickos. We're all IWC sickos. I apply it to the whole IWC. It's to celebrate people as well. But this one is like, okay, calm down. Duke Loves Wrestling. We'll talk about this. He's coming on next week. We're going to debate this whole Glass CM Punk shit. So Drain Bamager had a fucking full-on melty today. He goes,
WWE lowballing wrestlers, getting outbid, seeing Swerve Strickland and Daniel Garcia get huge bags of money, and then throwing a tantrum pretending to care about the health of the wrestling industry. Incredible sour grapes.
And like, what the fuck is he even talking about? WWE, he's going based off of Tony Khan claiming that they inflate the prices or whatever. Like, I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. What did WWE throw a tantrum about? They didn't throw a tantrum at all. They're just making shit up, saying random shit that never fucking happened. And they just invent it in their heads and their little circle jerk. It's fucking crazy. But WWE never lowballed anyone. Okay, just because Tony pays someone $2 million who doesn't draw doesn't mean that WWE should give them $2 million to not draw. And they never get outbid, or they get no, it's not even outbid. They just tell you, here's what we're gonna give you, and then fucking AEW matches it, or wrestlers are working fucking Tony, and they're saying, yeah, WWE's giving me this much. You know that's what they're all doing. That's why Tony thinks, oh, their WWE's inflating. No, it's because everybody whose contract's coming up goes, even if they didn't talk to WWE, says to them, oh, I talked to them and they, yeah, they're going to give me this much. That's all it is, man. Tony's a geek. Anyways, and then so is this Drain Bamager. And then he's literally crying about it. He's literally throwing a tantrum about it. Here's him later in the day. Shout out Neckbeards.
I wish these annoying Fed stands would shut the fuck up about ratings and just stick to bootlicking the company they dick ride.
Well, why is it okay to talk about money and lowballing, but it's not okay to talk about ratings? These people are sociopathic and they like to pick and choose. They project and they like to pick and choose what's okay, what's valid in the conversation or what isn't. Like meanwhile, this guy's a dick rider account. So in their mind, this is why I pointed out they're sociopaths. They're fucking narcissist weirdos. This is why I pointed out, because in this person's mind, it's okay to stan AEW. It's not okay to stan WWE. That's what they think in this person's mind right here. They expose it themselves. It's projecting. It's literal projection. So we point this out all the time. We psychoanalyze this all the time. But he goes, like, I'm serious. I've had enough of it. Why do you continue to hate on professional wrestling? I don't fucking got. Because to some people, it's not pro wrestling, bro. And then Drain Bamager types this out. When everyone starts, like, describing, like, and not like if a tweet's like, I feel sick, puke emoji. Not like that. But when you start going, like, sigh, this and shit, you're on some weirdo time. And he goes, OMFG, I need to sit down. I feel sick. My appetite is gone and my day is ruined. Bro, the Fed ruined his day. But yet we're fucking dick rider, asshole, crazy lunatic people. And yeah, I consider myself a sicko. I consider myself a fedophile, as they call it. Fedophile, everyone. Don't fucking AI that shit. That's one of the terms that they call everyone, right? An e-drone. And I'm all of it. I love wrestling, but yeah, these people right here are fucking nuts, bro. This shit turns people off of AEW so much. And yeah, the WWE people do this shit too. But they were fucking poked, man. We got to be honest. Like, they were bringing up WWE. We're going to do everything different. Fuck them. We're revolutionizing. We're going to beat Raw. Bald assholes. It's always, oh, they're inflating the prices. Are they? Or did Buddy Matthews just pretend to talk to them and he's dating Rhea Ripley? So and he just told you a number and you get worked, Tony, because you're a fucking mark. Is that what it is? I think it's like, I don't know. I think I'm more right than I'm wrong on that one. So, yeah, that was our sicko segment. Now, yeah, this Nemeth Alexander. Now, there's 20 minutes left. So what they're doing is they're lulling everyone down again, and then they're going to ramp it up for the last, 10 minutes, obviously, and fucking really get some falls in. Maybe we see 2-3 falls. But, yeah, these guys look like they could go another hour. I'm not even kidding. So, bravo to them.
Well, this is where you looked at MJF versus Will Ospreay. If they kept throwing, it was like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this move. And it was almost like just watching a video game. There's no story. They're not telling anything. Meanwhile, you have Nemeth and Alexander who are like, all right, this is how we're going to tell the story. This is Josh Alexander now becoming more brutal. This is him literally working the leg, trying to destroy the ankle.
The ref took a bump. Ref bump in the chat. Ref bump.
This AEW's become like XPW and Dragon Gate, where it's just, hey, let's do a bunch of moves because it's cool. Or we're not going to tell a story. We're just going to do a bunch of wild moves and get everything there because, hey, we just want to do fancy moves. And regarding to the contracts, I was thinking about that earlier. Tony should know better. His father runs an NFL, team. They get offers all the time, and they'll learn to say, well, no, we're not going to pay this player money because, hey, we have the analytics, we have, the metrics, we have, all these, as they call it, what is it, in baseball, you have Billy Beanball or, Moneyball. They subscribe to this stuff over in Jacksonville and Fulham. It's Tony just deciding, oh, you know what? I want this guy. He's like a Pokemon card, so I'll sign whatever I want to get this guy or this girl. I mean, nobody else was offering. I mean, think of it. Mercedes Moné. Who else was out there that was going to give her big money? WWE wasn't going to do it. He didn't afford it, and Tony just overpaid to get Mercedes Moné. I mean, it's just what you get.
Damn, they got a table set up out there. Ref selling not that well. Clearly playing peekaboo, but at least they got the ref knocked out before they're fucking doing table spots and shit. Alexander just took a backdrop right onto the fucking apron. Hit his tailbone, it looked like, so good thing he's okay. Jaguars are not a good example of a well-run team. Yeah, I agree.
Maybe not, but you know what? At least it's their professional sports team. They make money. They, have to have a salary cap. So for Tony Khan to go, there's tampering and all this, it's like, well, this better than anybody because hell, friggin' hell, you this is what you and your father have done.
Alexander hit a fucking spinning tombstone and never got a first fall there. Pretty crazy. So it's still 2-0 as far as I'm concerned.
But at least it wasn't one of those quick things. It was probably a 3 count. The referee had got knocked down. He's selling everything. And it's like, all right, at least it's somewhat believable rather than, the usual, hey, let's do a Canadian Destroyer. And then we'll kick you out after one because, hey, we can do that. By the way, chairs are being brought out now.
Yep, let's see it. Sorry if you guys hear fans. It's getting hot in here.
No, look, it's
so
Andy the chair back, and then
Alexander hit him with like a fucking knuck or something.
Knocked him out with a piece of him, I think almost like a metal. So it was, hey, he took the chair, and as I said, they're telling the story. This is great. We are
the C4 spike. Nemeth pinned. It's 2-1. See, now they're gonna ramp it up. 15 minutes left here, roughly. But it's time for our favorite moment, and it's called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Meltzer said says, remember when Dave was mocking the media who actually attend pay-per-views for not asking the real questions? Now, I don't really give him shit for this because he was kind of being jovial and but he asked Birdie, where do you want to go to next? Australia? Maybe Japan? So obviously they want Daniels to wrestle on these matches or whatever. But yeah,
Alexander ties it up 2-2 now with another C4 spike. Dave Scherer says, when you can't make the trip from Northern California to Southern California to see WrestleMania at SoFi, but you can fly across the country and then across the pond to London for All In, don't try and tell people you are an impartial journalist. Exactly. Fucking Dummy Dave, flutes in the chat. Dummy Dave fucking doesn't go to WrestleMania when it's like literally in a state, but he'll go all the way to London to do a show and sit in a fucking AEW ring and answer questions and be a mark for himself. It's just so goofy, man. And the fact people still like quote this guy or fucking listen to his news after the Offa situation and all that, and Pat McAfee, and just, I don't know, man. It's insane. I love roasting him. And yeah, I pointed that out on the show too. But Dave Scherer, after his big beef there with Brian Last and Jim Cornette.
Everybody thinks.
Yeah, so Dave explains the Wembley Gauntlet match finish with the baffling booking decision of Christian winning over Ricochet, Hangman, Okada, SCJ, Nigel, etc.
Christian, everybody thinks it's the turn, but instead he grabs Kyle, choke slams him, puts Christian on top, gets the pin. I don't get it, dude. Ricochet, Nigel.
Yeah, I would. Okay, so I can tell you why.
Tell me why.
Okay, because remember the one that Will Ospreay won?
The match with Danielson?
No, the Gauntlet.
Oh, the Gauntlet, yeah.
See, that's the thing. You remember who won the Will Ospreay one? Well, which one, man? He's been in 2 of those in the last like 4 fucking months, bro. They've done like 3 of those matches. It's fuck.
Yeah, Christian was supposed to win that one.
That's all fine and good, but he didn't. And now we're in a different time.
I know.
And Christian and Bryan Danielson for the title.
I agree with you 100%. I'm just telling you why.
That's fine. He can win a gauntlet some other time.
I agree with you completely. He was not a guy I would pick, because again, if you only have a few I mean, there is a storyline legitimacy in the sense that Christian.
No, there's not a storyline in a sense, Dave. That's not how storylines work, dude. He's just inventing this shit, man.
Has beaten Bryan Danielson, as have many others. But Christian has beaten Bryan Danielson, so Bryan Danielson, as champion, you can defend against someone like that. However, with only a few Bryan Danielson matches left, I mean, I know it's too early.
When did he beat him? WWE?
No, he beat him when he was the TNT champion. They had a great match on, I think it was on Collision, but they had a hell of a match. But it wouldn't be my choice at all. I think that you would argue it's too early for Ricochet, and I would totally.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it to Ricochet. That's what I thought they were gonna do.
Fully agree, except for the fact that Bryan Danielson's not going to be around for long, and it is a dream match, and it's the only chance to do it, and it's okay for Rick. You know, if Ricochet went in there with Bryan Danielson and lost, ain't the end of the world. Ricochet's great; he can survive it. With Christian, it's a match we've seen. I don't know. I'm not a big fan, and also it's not like this match is going to take place on a specific date. This is a Money in the Bank thing, so yeah, Christian can show up with that thing.
How much you guys want to bet Christian Cage makes some sort of joke about like Nikki Bella's husband and fucking Brie or something like that?
No, they'll stay away from that.
You think? Okay.
If it's domestic violence, I mean, because there's one thing to get heat. There's another thing when it's real, and it's something that And remember, this isn't Nick Wayne. This isn't some kid who has no say. If I'm Bryan Danielson, I'm going, I don't want to deal with this. No. I mean, this is a problem when you have all these guys with creative control of this. So, look, it's just. I have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, if I could see him not even wrestle Christian Cage. That Cage basically, steals the title after Darby Allin has the belt put on, because that's what they want to do. They want to make Darby Allin this main event guy. So
that will fucking kill the company if they put the belt on him, man. Original plans called for the Lucha Bros as part of Death Triangle with Pac to win the AEW World Trios Championships at All In. Oh, but we punished him and did BCC instead. Like, fucking. Oh, I'm so glad they spent so much time building up to these guys winning the Trios titles out of nowhere at All In. Oh, I'm so happy that was your plan, Tony Khan, after they weren't allowed to be on TV with the fucking CMLL guys for how many months? Jesus Christ, man. These are fake. Those are fake star ratings. Did you see this Uncle Dave actually acting like we all can't think of this shit on our own? So Joe Mason says, why can't they adjust their on-demand episodes so it doesn't cut off at 10? And this is again, Brian, this is again Meltzer arguing with Brian about the fucking overrun. This is that same argument. And here's fucking somebody saying to Meltzer, why can't they just program it so it cuts off at 10? Whenever I watch it there, I miss the last few minutes. This is so sloppy. And then here's Meltzer, the all-knowing, why can't you just do this like me? Meanwhile, Meltzer can't even like make a phone call and figure out if Offa's dead or not a day before it happens. The piece of fucking shit, scumbag, douchebag. Anyways, Dave Meltzer goes, why can't you just record the next show? I'm guessing you've never watched sports or award shows or a number of live entertainment shows on TV. Dave, nobody's watching award shows. And when it's for sports, they build it in. You keep saying, I guess no one watches sports. You don't, Dave, because you know that they built that in already. Stupid. Holy shit, man. I'm about to fucking...
Dummy. Yeah.
Anyways, be like me when watching AEW. No, Dave, because if I was like you and watching AEW, I'd be fucking beating my meat all over the... You know what I mean, dude? There'd be crusty socks everywhere. Okay? Ain't happening. Be like me when watching AEW or sports. You don't watch sports. Set your DVR for the next show. First time it happens, you can get mad at them. If it happens a second time and you didn't learn, that's on you. So Dave literally just went, well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Taking all the responsibility off of like, this should be sorted out. Why isn't this sorted out? Why isn't this on the top of Tony Khan's priority list? When even you and Shill Alvarez are fucking yelling at each other about it. God damn.
Dummy. Yeah.
Chris, what do you think, man?
I think there's been, I think at this point it's obvious. Dave Meltzer is probably getting paid under the table by Tony Khan. He's sold basically all his credibility to basically hawk them every time he gets. It's embarrassing now. I mean, at some point, if you look at Dave Meltzer, it's like, okay, look, I get it. You like AEW, but he rarely criticizes him now. He is so anti-WWE, pro AEW, that he's become what he hates. He's become that fanboy that you look and go, oh my God, it's just. Do you hang out and, get all giddy when they come out for autographs? Do you have their posters on your wall? That's Dave Meltzer now.
So Meltzer is back on American soil after his excursion to the UK for All In. No word yet if he will make the long, arduous trek from San Jose to Vegas for WrestleMania, which he won't. He won't. So AEW isn't successful, you moronic mark. And Meltzer goes, this is from someone who knows sports business far better than you. While I actually, personally, Tony Khan. While I personally don't agree with his number, the idea AEW isn't successful is laughable today, and the general sports franchise methodology of 5 to 12 times annual revenue gives a range of 900 million to 2.2 billion. Doesn't apply to AEW. And in 2025, that would increase greatly, more likely than not. Dave. Yeah, he just applies like NFL to fucking AEW. It's just, oh man, he's down bad. He's coping so hard. If TBS insisted on it, they would. If you're TBS, you'd probably be happy with the extra minutes of ratings, but they don't get them ratings. They lose ratings. Yeah, they can't finish Dynamite by 9. Where Meltzer and Alvarez, since this should finish off that scripted show, can't finish on time. Exactly. It's a fucking scripted show. They should be happy with the extra minutes. Bro, the show, if they put Big Bang on after, it'd get more fucking viewers. I'm surprised they don't do that already. So this lady goes, Cardi fan account goes, if WWE did SummerSlam 1 year 50K and next year 25K, that's still good. And then Meltzer goes, change that from 83 to 53 and say it's the same building.
Yeah, that would be great. Dave.
Dummy. Yeah.
Bonus.
That's not what she asked. Or he, or she. She asked if WWE did SummerSlam one year, 50,000, and the next year they did 25,000. Is that good? And then Dave goes, "We'll just change that from 83 to 53." Dave. God damn it. Okay, then. So 83 to 53. Is that not good? Yeah, that would be great. Okay. He thinks it's great losing 30K or half your audience or whatever. AEW Collision beat Caitlin Clark 0.13 to 0.11 on Saturday night head to head from 8 to 10. And I hear
For
that
what, bro?
Caitlin Clark is pretty popular. And then Meltzer goes, "That's a real big deal." Oh, it's for the key demo. 0.13 to 0.11. But what's the key demo? Males 18 to 45 or whatever they try and say the key demo is. I'm sure more women watch Caitlin Clark than AEW, though. So what the fuck are these people talking about, man? This is crazy. This is
Caitlin
fucking
Clark.
bananas.
Yeah, I mean, look, Caitlin Clark's. They draw over 1 million people for her WNBA matches. I mean, but games. It's gotten to the point where their TV deal got renewed for a billion, for into billions, not millions, billions. So, look, I think the whole 18 to 49-year-old thing is it's one of those. Oh yeah, we did 1849 for blah blah blah. Well, great. What's the hard numbers? It's how many people actually watched, because that's all that people care about. I don't care how many young people watched. I care about how many people overall watch, because I think if you're not making over 1 million right now on TV and you're asking for big money, they're gonna just go, nope, hard pass, and we'll find something else. We'll do big bang, re-airings. Those things, we can print money because we own that product.
Yeah, I don't know. Epic fail. You have to hear this from the brother of Tom Cole calling out Meltzer. We'll do that like tomorrow or I need some stuff for the rest of the day, so we'll EFAP that together. The launch of NXT Europe is seemingly less likely than ever. But really, that's not the case. This is just Meltzer speculating bullshit and then fucking Wrestle Talk speaking as though it's fact. Or like in bold letters saying the launch of NXT Europe is seemingly less than ever. But Meltzer goes and says, "Remember when they closed NXT UK? This was a couple of years ago now. And they were immediately going to reopen NXT Europe." Were they? And then they fired almost everyone except certain people like Oro Mensah and the Gallus boys, Blair Davenport, Lyra Valkyria, who they brought in, some of the top people. Most of the people that were working in NXT UK were fired, and I thought, if you're really going to do NXT Europe, like you say, why are you firing people? Because these people were under like $25,000 a year contracts. It's not like they're paying giant money to these people. The cost savings was negligible. Because, Dave, they're trying to run a profitable fucking company, and they're trying to, and they're not Tony Khan, bro. Like, it's insane. I get it. Like, yes, give all the wrestlers jobs in the world. Right? Like, wouldn't that be great if everyone could just, get that dream job? Dave, it doesn't work that way. But anyways, he goes, other people were telling me they're never going to do this Europe thing. Who's other people? He always goes, other people. Who? They're never going to do this Europe thing. They're saying it because they never want to admit to shutting down the UK thing. What do you mean? They admitted it. They did it. So what is there to admit? Because the UK thing was their original idea to offset the ITV shows that Grado was a big star and the Davey Boy Smith Jr. was a big star in, which failed. No, it didn't fail. What's failing? WWE or ITV? Which one's more popping? Which one's more bumping, dude? Jesus. That thing had died, so they didn't really have a reason. Oh, I guess he meant ITV. Good. Sorry, I botched. So they didn't really have a reason, and they weren't really doing any shows. So they shut down the UK thing. I always hear we're doing the European thing, but it's been years now, and I hear less now than I heard years ago. Dave, fucking Ludwig Kaiser went on TV and said that he would win the U.S. title and turn into the European Championship. That's what he just said on SmackDown.
So the 60-man Iron match is done, and then
Nick Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth is now retained your TNA World Heavyweight Championship.
There you go. So, congratulations to him. And this was a great match. And they built up to the ending tremendously. And Alexander just can't get up. And yeah, Nemeth defends. And I bet we'll see this match again. Maybe in like a lethal lockdown or something, whatever they used to call it, TNA lockdown. But yeah, Dave goes on and says, I remember Paul Levesque doing the idea, a real idea they were going to do, have a European outpost, NXT Europe, NXT Middle East, NXT Japan, NXT Mexico, or Latin America. His vision was NXT outpost. That's coming clearly. Look at what they're doing. Regional stuff all over the world to develop young talent and the best talent from all of these places. Okay, but that idea is years and years and years old. Yeah, Dave, they're executing it now. These plans take years to execute. Jesus Christ. It's like Dana White. He said all this shit too. All these plans, wait till we're doing in the next 5 years.
We got a surprise. You wanted surprises.
Yeah, you want a surprise. Here we go. It's coming. What is it?
JBL is now in TNA.
Let's go. Fucking JBL. Let's fucking go. The Midnight Riders. Let's go. And he's been showing up to a bunch of indies, dude.
So you know he's bringing somebody because he himself is not wrestling anymore.
You don't think he's going to wrestle? So he's just going to manage?
Yeah, because he was managing Nick Nemeth down in AAA, and now.
But yeah, I don't know. Dave talking out of his ass. That was this week's Dave Meltzer dumb moment of the week. Even though we're gonna have 2 more of those, like tomorrow and the next day, we have fucking dumb moments. So don't worry about that. And yeah, Dave just making shit up. Like plans take years to execute, man. And yeah, now you're seeing them come into fruition, and he's like boo-booing on these ideas that evolved over time with the times. Imagine that, having an idea, fleshing it out, and it evolves with the times. Huh. Imagine that. So maybe instead of NXT Japan, it's called Marigold, or they do NXT Japan, or they just get in business with Noah and shit instead. And they, like, imagine that, Dave. Fucking crazy, man. Such an idiot. But yeah, JBL comes out, and hopefully he's on TV, TNA TV more frequently. And it's good that they're working with WWE, because we're going to see more and more and more of this, guys. I'm fucking telling you. And like JBL on commentary, maybe? That could be fun on TNA.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, look, I think that he's going to – if you ever want to get a guy over who can't talk but is an excellent worker, why not have – JBL is sort of, the guy to introduce him to. So, but we'll find out, because next it's September 13th is Victory Road. So that'll be the next sort of TNA PLE. And then after that, it's Bound for Glory all the way to Detroit on October 28th. So it'll be interesting.
Well, overall, that Iron Man match was really fucking good. I implore, if you did not watch it, I implore you to go check it out, folks. It was really good. And yeah, I'll probably throw it on again. But the JBL thing didn't pop me too hard, because he's been showing up everywhere. I just felt like that would happen because I saw him with Nick Nemeth in the fucking, like you said, in AAA, in pictures and whatnot. And yeah, overall, this event was pretty good. No match was too long, and that's because that was a very long match. They told a great story. 2 masters. I want to see Josh Alexander in WWE eventually. Nick Nemeth said he won't be involved in any of the crossover shit. Because he just left there and stuff, and they're not really, but they did bring Ash by Elegance in, so who knows? But yeah, Nick Nemeth, your TNA champion, sticking around with TNA for a while, obviously, and that's just good. It's just so good to have him be the face of your company. And I saw a meme where somebody was like, could you imagine like 10 years ago saying like Cody Rhodes would be WWE champion, Alberto Del Rio would be AAA champion, fucking Nick Nemeth would be TNA champion, and Bryan Danielson would be AEW champion.
You know, like imagine 10 years ago or whatever saying that about all of those guys. They'd all be world champions of different companies at the same time. Pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, overall, man, I don't know. I rate that. This show, I'll give it a solid like 7 out of 10. I'll give it overall on my rating, my experience. Nothing blew me away like I thought it would. The Ultimate X match was good, but it under-delivered a little bit for me, even though the right guy won, because now I'm really interested in No Mercy with Wentz showing up with that X Division belt. And that main event really was fucking great. Two great guys who knew how to pace it perfectly. Their timing was great for the end of the match. Just like Alexander selling like, oh, there's 20 seconds left, though. Maybe fucking Nick Nemeth. Actually, maybe he can tie it up, though. There's 20 seconds. You don't know. But then he just like falls backwards because he just gave it his all. And both of those guys look like they could go another 60. I'm not even joking. So who knows? Maybe we get like a cage match between them next. I want to see them go at it one more time again. And I think Hendry will get involved somehow. But I don't know. Who knows, man? Maybe he'll be winning the NXT title. We don't know. Yeah, Chris Connor, your thoughts overall on the pay-per-view?
The PLE for because it was on their TNA Plus app. Look, it was a nice little card. I think certain things could have been better, but look, you know, they had one guy, Rich Swann, they had to pull because of his suspension, so that changed the match. Prayers go to Alicia Edwards because suffering concussion is never fun. It's pretty damn scary. So that match got changed a lot. We'll see what happens. It was a solid card, nothing too flashy. Zachary Wentz getting the title, I think, is a nice story because it helps, that can maybe lead to Wesley coming back to TNA for maybe Bound for Glory, ending that feud. We'll see what happens. Just look, for what it was. I had fun. It was good. Can they keep it rolling? Can they improve on the next card? But the better part was you didn't see as many technical glitches as they've had in the past. So overall, I would say a very damn good effort, a very damn good card.
Excellent. And I hope if you guys don't typically check out TNA, I hope you guys check out more TNA and watch it on Thursdays. Chris Connor, thank you so much for being here tonight with me. I appreciate you so much. And
I'll be back tomorrow for
yes. So Bash in Berlin, you're more than welcome to tap in, guys. I'm gonna get out of here because I'm gonna eat some ice cream, watch Cobra Kai, hang out with my girlfriend, touch some grass because we got to get up. Oh, Chris Connor just bounced out. No, I was gonna tell Chris to plug his shit at Last Call with Chris C, at Last Call with Chris Connor, and Last Call podcast. You guys already know your boy Phil S. Marks. I am going to be back tomorrow for Bash in Berlin bright and early, and I'm going to be back for NXT No Mercy as well, a triple header this weekend. Thank you all so much for being here. Shout out TNA for doing great work. I appreciate everyone in the chat, and this will be a fun weekend, and I don't know, just check out TNA, I implore you. This event wasn't as good as the last one, though. I'm not going to lie. Not to knock it. I'm just being honest. And I don't know. I hope we have fun with Bash in Berlin. I think the crowd's going to be crazy. We didn't preview that, but we'll run through the card as we're live. You guys already know how we get down. And I'll check you guys in the morning. Make sure you stay tuned in here. And I just appreciate you all, man. And youtube.com/@prowrestletimes, youtube.com/@prowrestleclips. Thank you. We're almost at 4,300 subs on the one, 1,300 on the other. And I need you guys to check out Patreon because I'm going to be way more active on their videos that I am not allowed to upload. I get Don Stevens. They copyright struck my last stream fucking 11 times, and I'm not joking. Every second of Don Stevens dancing, they fucking copyright struck every second of it. So I cut that chunk out of the show and I uploaded it to Patreon for you guys. So make sure you check that out. Thank you all for being here with me. I will see you in the Upside Down. Peace.
I look and see it's not just me.
Jack, why do you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV?
I look and see it's not just me.
This place is a fucking joke, man. You're a clown. I quit.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. We call us problem child. trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand and we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
No. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes.
Well, yes, of course.
But it makes wrestling booking sense. Of course, this makes no sense. Of course, okay, it makes no sense. However, in pro wrestling booking, which often makes no sense, it would do that. It's about making money. It's not about anything else. Wrestling's always been about making money first and foremost. That's it.
I look and see it's not just me.
Last weekend was the greatest weekend in AEW history. This is the greatest week.
I look and see it's not just me.
Security, my safety, my life was in danger at a wrestling show.
So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. So many of us have stood where I stand. We are the young, so raise your hand. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand, we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild. They call us problem child. We spend our lives on trial. We walk an endless mile. We are the youth gone wild. We stand, we won't fall. We're one and one for all. The writing's on the wall. We are the youth gone wild.
If you're familiar with how we do things often here on these Wednesdays, it's a lot like one of my favorite movies, Time Cop.
What? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
What do we got? Super Day, Pro Wrestle Clips. Tony Khan has Camille and Megan Bain sitting at home being paid since 2023 for nothing. Come on now. It's not going to be the pod calling some kettle black on that one. Truth is the truth. Vacker was more over than Monet. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm reading slow. Vacker was more over than Monet and is going to the big times. Absolutely. And I said that. I think I covered that show. In fact, I know we did. And I pointed out, I'm going to go back and listen to my own comments. But I did make a mental note. And I think I did point out that I thought she looked really good because I had never seen her before. And now that you pointed out, I don't want to say she looked better than Mercedes, but I think the expectation was a little higher for Mercedes, obviously. And perhaps Stephanie exceeded hers and perhaps Mercedes didn't.